crouching in Duluth Trading Ballroom jeans. Duluth Trading Ballroom jeans. The crotch gusset gives you room to crouch without singing soprano. Get a pair at DuluthTrading.com.
Employee of the month is the new Spark card from Capital One. Spark Miles gives me the most rewards of any small business credit card.
The Spark card earns double miles. Oh!
So we really had to up our game.
With Spark, the boss earns double miles on every purchase every day.
That's setting the bar pretty high.
Owning my own business has never been more rewarding.
Coming through.
Introducing Spark, the small business credit cards from Capital One. Get more by choosing unlimited double miles or 2% cash back on every purchase every day.
What's in your wallet?
TireRack.com is more than just an online tire resource. We're your one-stop online tire know-how, know-who, and know-what. With TireRack's online research tools, you'll know you're getting exactly the right tires for you, your car, and the way you drive it. Speaking of that, know what else? Our prices are practically unbeatable. And that's all you need to know. Buy your next tires at Tire Rack and experience how we're revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
On a dull day, in a ho-hum world, something wonderful is as near as your nose. Just pop up Pop-Tarts, sprinkled with joy and frosted with fun. They make ordinary extraordinary, so you can make any day joylicious.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded, all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because of who is behind the wheel.
Thanks, Dad.
See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
There's a line that separates the mighty from the meek and the heroes from the humble. One very thin line. These are the moments you don't want to miss. And with Xfinity, you never will.
Catch every touchdown from every game Sunday afternoons with NFL Red Zone. Sign up now to get NFL Red Zone and more with the Sports Entertainment Package for under $8 more a month. Call 1-800-XFINITY.
It looks a little like a Roman Colosseum ahead of the Boston skyline. That is historic Harvard Stadium, the site of a classic Ivy League matchup between the Harvard University Crimson and the University of Pennsylvania Quakers. And this is a matchup that has definite title implications. Harvard is still unbeaten in Ivy League play at 5-0. Penn's celebrated 18-game Ivy League win streak was snapped 2 weeks ago on a rainy day at Brown, but at 4-1. They're still right in the thick of things also, along with the Brown Bears. Randy Moss with Ross Tucker and Carolyn Mano. And Ross, we have the two most successful Ivy League coaches here on the field today.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, Randy. There's only 5 coaches in Ivy League history that have over 100 wins, and we've got 2 of the 5 today. starting with Tim Murphy, who's done a fantastic job since taking over in Cambridge. You know, Harvard as a program was really down before he got here in the mid-90s, and since then he has taken them to 5 Ivy League championships. And how about this? 7+ wins for 11 years in a row. That is what you're looking for from a coach, consistent winning.
And there is a look at Penn head coach Al Bagnoli, the winningest active coach in the NCAA's football championship subdivision. 101 Ivy League wins, the most among active head coaches, and second overall in Ivy League history.
Well, and you mentioned the streak as you see the Quakers about to take the field. They won 18 straight Ivy League games. They weren't able to beat the Brown Bears a couple weeks ago with some terribly adverse weather conditions, but they still feel like the bullseye's on them. Even though they might be the underdog in this game, Randy, they said, hey, we are still the defending champs.
As the Quakers take the field and they're visiting white with blue, let's go down there to the field now to Carolyn.
Well, Randy and Ross, you mentioned the implications that are on the line from this game, a share of the title, of course, and Harvard's ready for this one. Their quarterback, Collier Winters, told me, we are a confident group right now, and they feel like it's their time. They've lost to Penn the last 2 straight games. They know that they have a talented offense right now, the best in the league, and they say that they are ready to come out here and play this game. As for the 2 head coaches, I talked to both Tim Murphy and Al Bagnoli about their tenure and their accomplishments, and they both told me the same thing. They said, Carolyn, we just feel old. Back to you, Randy.
Harvard has been very difficult to beat here in the friendly confines of Harvard Stadium. In fact, they've won 27 of their last 31 games here, as you see the captains now on the field for the coin toss.
Gentlemen, I have a coin. Head on one side, tail on the other. Captain, if I in the air, you're going to call it in the air. What do you want to call it, Captain?
Tails.
Tails. Call it again.
Tails.
It's tails. You want to toss. University of Pennsylvania has won the toss. They will defer their choice to the second half. Harvard is your choice. You want to take the ball, sir? Which way you want to kick, gentlemen?
All right, so Harvard will receive. There is their home record. But among those 4 losses, one was 2 years ago against Penn, who has now beaten the Crimson twice in a row.
Well, you can see these kids are ready to go today. Both of these teams have had this game circled for well over a year. Talking with some of the guys for Harvard yesterday, including offensive lineman Kevin Murphy, he said, hey, they've had our number the last couple years. There's no way around it. And these Harvard seniors, yeah, they won the Ivy League, Randy, as freshmen, but not many of them were real contributors on that team. They said, yeah, we were a part of it, but we didn't really earn it. This is their chance today to earn a ring. They get the win today, they guarantee themselves at least a share of the Ivy League crown.
There's a look at quarterback Collier Winters for Harvard, who's completing almost 71% of his passes. He missed 4 games with a pulled hamstring this season, during which Colton Chappell came in and performed quite admirably in Winters' absence. But Winters is among the most efficient quarterbacks in the Ivy League.
Well, he is, and you see Billy Ragone as well on the other side. Last year, Billy Ragone was first team all Ivy League quarterback along with Sean Brackett for Columbia. And the one thing both these quarterbacks can do, in addition to throwing the football, they are both really good with their feet, Ragone in particular.
Penn will be trying to beat Harvard in back-to-back games here at Harvard Stadium for the first time since 1993 and 1995. And this is a classic matchup of high-powered offense of Harvard's, which leads the Ivy League against Penn's typically stingy #1 defense.
And I know the Penn Quakers deferred the opening toss, but you got to think that Harvard is pretty excited to get the ball first. They have scored 40 points plus in 4 straight games. It's the first time they had done that here in Harvard since 1890, back when you were a youngster, Randy.
And 500+ yards of total offense in each of their last 5 games. So Harvard has really been racking up the statistics. You see, we do have a windy day. If you look at the flagpoles above Harvard Stadium, it's blowing from your right to left. So Connor Loftus, the freshman kicker for Penn that has it teed up again, will be kicking with the wind. Saitu Smith, the freshman, normally would be returning kicks for Harvard, but he sprained his ankle last week on the opening kickoff. And now you've got a couple of guys back there, and Trevor Scales, number 24, in the deepest guy will be Matt Hansen. But it's going to be kicked short fumbled around a little bit by Hansen. And he's in big trouble. Matt Hansen makes his way across the 15-yard line, so good field position for Penn defensively to start off as we set the Harvard offense with the Discover starting lineups. Kevin Murphy, the big guy at left tackle, protecting Winters, 6'7", 295, a potential NFL prospect. And the backs and receivers, 2 tight ends, Kyle Juszczyk and Cameron Brate will be among the centerpieces for the Crimson. On first down, Winters with play action, fires over the middle, and that is complete to Cameron Brate, one of those tight ends that we were talking about. As we take a look now at the Discover starting lineups defensively for Penn. 2 guys to really keep your eye on. First of all, Brandon Copeland, number 52, who embraces the violence of the game, and also Eric Rask at linebacker, who is the leading tackler in the Ivy League. We've got 2nd down and 6 now, or 4 rather. That was a gain of 6, and the handoff goes to Trevor Scales. Scales pulls his way just short of first down yardage. Matt Hampshire, number 4, the do-everything nickelback defensively for Penn, in on the stop. Finishing up now with the Discover starting lineups on Penn defense. We showed you Brandon Copeland and Eric Rask. In the defensive backfield, you've also got an injury that we'll discuss in just a moment on 3rd down and short. A first down run by Trevor Scales off left tackle. And so Harvard gets, well, that was first down, so a short yardage run there by Scales. It'll be a pickup of 2, 2nd, Nate.
And one of the things you notice right away, Randy, is that Harvard does not huddle, and they will not huddle for the most part throughout the game. They do everything on the ball, not always at an extremely up-tempo speed, but always at the line of scrimmage.
On 2nd down, it's a screen pass to Scales. Crosses the 35-yard line to the 37. It'll be a couple of yards shy of the first down. Hampshire again in on another stop.
There's really 2 reasons why teams go no huddle. The biggest one is because you do not want to allow the defense to really be able to substitute. And number 2, it allows the offense to get into a rhythm and try to wear down the defense as well.
And this is Tim Murphy's coaching style. Fast pace, no huddle, 3rd and 2. Winters fires it out to the left side, incomplete. Matt Brown tried to haul it in, but it was a low pass and he couldn't quite get to it. It'll bring up 4th and 2.
Yeah, Winters just didn't look like he got enough zip on the ball, and maybe it died down in the wind a little bit. I think Matt Brown would tell you that was awfully close to a catch. Again, remember, there is no replay in the Ivy League. So even though we're broadcasting the game here on Versus, there's no replay. That was close by Matt Brown.
So Harvard's going to have to punt it away. Jacob Dombrowski, averaging 40 yards a punt, will be kicking to Matt Hampshire. And he shanks it. It won't even get close to Hampshire. The ball comes down at the 45-yard line. Gets a Harvard bounce, where it'll roll dead at the 37. So a 3-and-out for Harvard. Penn has not given up an opening drive touchdown, and now in 32 consecutive games. So that's a statistic that will continue for another week as you get a look at Billy Ragone, the do-everything quarterback for Penn. He, of course, will head up the offense from a passing and running standpoint. On the offensive line, the only senior in that young line is left tackle Greg Van Roten at 6'4", 295. Brandon Colavita, Bam Colavita, got 122 yards rushing last year against Harvard. And on first down, play action to Colavita. Ragone was flushed out of the pocket. He was going to run it, but he was dropped by Josue Ortiz, the star defensive lineman.
Take a look at Ortiz. He's going to bull rush Mike Pinciotti, the right guard. Ortiz is so strong, close to a 500-pound bencher, and you can see he is just an absolute physical specimen. Leads the Ivy League in sacks with 7 coming in today. He just got his 8th right there.
And Ortiz told us yesterday that the bull rush was going to be one of his favorite tactics in this game. That was a loss of 4 yards, 2nd and 14. Ragone intended for Ryan Mitchell, one of his favorite targets, but overthrown. Now let's take a look at the Discover starting lineups for the Harvard defense. There is Josue Ortiz, the senior. One of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the Ivy League. The team captain is middle linebacker Alex Gideon, also a senior. And in the backfield, Matthew Hansen has been a long-time starter at cornerback. Tim Murphy told us that many teams just try not to throw at number 3. 3rd and 14. And Ragone is going to run it. Out of bounds at the 40-yard line, well short of the first down. It'll be 4th down and 7. Bobby Schneider was the one that ran Ragone out of bounds.
Well, you hear it all the time, Randy, but there really aren't any good plays in that situation. I think Al Bagnoli realizes as the underdog on the road, he didn't want to take the chance of turning the football over there. He told us when we spoke with him this week, ideally from his perspective, they just want to keep it close and have a chance in the 4th quarter.
Penn punter Scott Leprano had 2 punts blocked last week, 3 this season, and they're coming at him again. He gets that one away. That is Scott Miller, who just is going to let it bounce for Harvard. And Leprano's punt will roll dead at about the 15-yard line. That's exactly where Harvard started their last possession that resulted in 1 first down. A key matchup here in the Ivy League. We'll be back with more Harvard versus Penn.
Investing for yourself isn't some optional pursuit, a privilege for the ultra-wealthy. It's a necessity. I find investments with E-Trade's top 5 lists quickly, easily. I use predefined screeners and insightful trading ideas to dig deeper. Work smarter, not harder. I depend on myself, the one person I do trust to take charge of my financial future.
At Cobalt, we work with innovative tools every day. So something needs to be really exceptional to get us excited. And that something is this. It may look like an ordinary screwdriver, but when you hold this collar, it engages the double drive. So while you turn the handle forward and backward, the bits keep on moving. And because they keep on moving, it drives screws twice as fast as a ratcheting driver. Double drive technology was designed for situations where speed is critical. It relies on a unique dual drive gearing mechanism that has all metal gears for precision and durability.
Double drive works just like a ratcheting driver until you hold the collar, and double drive doubles your speed and reverses direction with a flip of a switch. Double drive is great for mechanics and contractors. Buy today and you'll get 21 bits, as well as 6 nut drivers and a flex extender for tight places. When you buy online or by phone, you'll get a holster that stores your entire drive set. Give the gift of double drive, and you'll get 21 bits, 6 nut drivers, flex extender, and holster. Buy yours today, exclusively at Lowe's.
Versus country, we have a name for all you new environmentalists, rookies. Hunters have been looking after the environment since the days of Teddy Roosevelt. Versus, home to the best outdoor shows on TV.
College football on Versus is presented by E-Trade, Investing Unleashed. By Foster's, Australian for beer. And by Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with Kay. So the Harvard Crimson will take over on the 16-yard line after that punt by Scott Leprano. Zach Bowden, the freshman, is in the lineup right now at running back behind that man, Collier Winters, as Harvard tries to get that high-powered offense in gear against the tough Penn defense. And there is the freshman Bowden, who's been impressing the coaches. Eric Rask meets him head-on, though, after little or no gain. And Ross, here's what we're talking about: the irresistible force against the unmovable object.
Yeah,
as they say.
I was going to say strength against strength. Look at the third portion of that graphic, total yards. You got the #1 defense in Penn against the #1 offense in Harvard.
No gain for the freshman Bowden on that last play. This will be a pass out to number 89, Chris Lordich. And that'll be apparently good for a first down. We'll see where they marked it. Dave Twomley, number 27, is in on coverage. And that does move the chain, an 11-yard gain now to just right at the 26-yard line.
Even here in the no huddle, Harvard can do different things. They're going to an unbalanced. They have their freshman right tackle, Will Whitman, number 71, is now on the left side. You can see how many offensive linemen they have to the left side of the formation.
Juszczyk and Brait, the two tight ends, both on the line. Collier Winters is in trouble and is sacked by Jared Shawley, who leads the team with 5 sacks now. Shawley getting to Winters before he had a chance to do much of anything.
Take a look at Jared Shawley. He's right there in the middle of your screen, working against the right guard, Austin Sheffley, and he's able to break through there. There's pressure from the other side from Taylor Brown, which runs Winters right into Shawley. Only a 3-man rush on that play from Penn. They were able to get there. Not a good sign early on for Harvard.
And they got there for a loss of 6 on 2nd and 16. There is Bowden, the freshman, who gets back close to the original line of scrimmage. Taylor Brown, who was just in the offensive backfield there, made the stop on Bowden.
Bowden's a guy that was really 5th string in training camp. As a freshman, they weren't expecting a ton from him. But the guys on defense during two-a-days kept saying, we can't tackle this kid. So they said, okay, we'll give him a little bit more of an opportunity. And clearly, as you see his numbers right there, he has made the most of it.
He picked up 7 yards. Trevor Scales is now in the lineup to replace Bowden on 3rd down and 7. And Winters overthrown, intended there for Alex Sarkisian, well overthrown. And once again, the Penn defense has stopped Harvard after 1 first down on each of the first 2 possessions. That was number 4, Dave Twomley, in there on the coverage of Sarkisian. So it'll be 4th down and 7. An encouraging start for the Penn defense, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. A lot of zone coverage here early on. Collier Winters has had a tough time finding anybody open.
Dombrowski will punt now for the 2nd time. His first one, of course, was kicked off the side of his foot. There's a better kick. Matt Hampshire will call for the fair catch at about the 31-yard line. Neither Harvard or Penn has been able to scratch the board here in the first quarter. 8:56 remaining. No score.
Speak Australian.
The perpetrator is believed to be 7 feet tall and, quote, terrible smelling. In other news today, the Minister of
Identity theft. Beer. Foster's Australian for beer.
你愿意嫁给我吗 ¿Te quieres casar conmigo?
Will you marry me? Before saying those words, there's one word every man should know.
Leo. Leo.
Leo. The Leo Diamond at K Jewelers. A fire, sparkle, and brilliance so intense it is the first diamond ever certified to be visibly brighter. One more reason K is the #1 jewelry store in America.
当然, sí. Yes. Every kiss begins with K.
My electric bill was breaking the bank. So to save some money, I trained this team of guinea pigs to row this tiny boat. They generate electricity, which lets me surf the web all day. Took me 6 months to train each one. 8 months to get the little chubby one to yell row. It was kind of strange. Such a simple word. Row.
There's an easier way to save. Get online. Go to geico.com. Get a quote. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Oh, yes, this is powerful stuff. Got me circling like the moon around the sun. Hear me, this is powerful stuff. There's no way for you to give this up.
It's true. You never forget your first Subaru.
As the Harvard defense prepares to take the field, it will apparently be without their 4-year starter at cornerback number 3, Matthew Hansen, who's being worked on the sideline. Carolyn has more.
Well, Randy, he's been down here for about 10 minutes. Trainers working on that left ankle of his. They taped him up and put him back in a cleat, and he started doing a little bit of running back and forth on the sideline. Then he stopped. He had his cleat taken off and the tape taken off, and now he's back on the trainer's table having that ankle looked at. So when we hear from the training staff the latest on him and what his status is for the game moving forward, I'll let you know, Randy.
Well, that is very significant because he leads the Ivy League in passes defensed with 8 of them. And not only that, He's a guy that'll be at a minimum in an NFL minicamp or training camp. He is getting a lot of interest from NFL scouts, and with Billy Ragone becoming a much more proficient passer over the course of this year, not a good sign for Harvard not to have their top cover corner.
36 DJ Monroe is in the game right now to replace Hansen. There is the first carry for Brandon Colavita. Bam Colavita, who plows up the middle for a gain of about 4 yards.
And you can already see from his first carry of the day why they call him Bam Colavita. There was pretty much nothing there, and he sort of groundhogged for 2 or 3 yards there underneath the pile. He is one powerful young man, 5'9", 220-plus pounds, and he squats over 600 pounds. Extremely powerful in his lower body, and you'll be able to tell by the way he runs the football.
Last year against Harvard, he carried 17 times for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. But that time, he gets a yard at most. John Mason, number 2, who plays linebacker as well as safety. He can even substitute at cornerback, was in on the tackle there. There you see Matthew Hansen on the sideline, apparently headed off the field. Carolyn?
Randy, he's got a left ankle injury. He's questionable to return like right now. As you mentioned, just left the field going to get more treatment. Questionable right now. Randy?
As Ross was just saying, that's big. That's big for the Harvard defense. We'll see if Penn can capitalize. It is 3rd and 6. Ragone with a quick hit to Ryan Calvert, one of his favorites, and Calvert has enough for the first down across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Dan Midamidi on the stop.
You see that play all the time. Look at the left side. You'll see the wide receiver, Joe Holder, all the way to the left, number 88. Awesome block on the edge. Anytime those plays work, those quick wide receiver screens that you see all the time at every level of play now, it's always because of good blocking on the edge by wide receivers. You need them to be able to make that one key block like Holder did.
Matt Hampshire is making his first appearance in the offensive backfield. That's him to Ragone's left, and that is Hampshire with the carry around right in. This kid can do it all, but he's wrapped up for gain of maybe a yard. DJ Monroe in the game in place of Hansen made the stop.
Hampshire used to be a running back. A couple years ago, they moved him to the defensive side of the ball. But you mentioned it when you said he can do it all. It's actually pretty ridiculous. He has a passing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown. He had a pick 6 last week against Princeton. He loves when the ball is in his hands.
The only thing he hasn't done is return a punt or a kickoff for a touchdown, and we'll see if he can check that off his list today. 2nd and 9. Ragone eases it out there toward Ryan Mitchell. Some contact there, but no flags. Incomplete.
That looked to me like it was incidental contact. It looked like their feet clicked. Let's take another look at it. It was Brian Owusu working at corner for Harvard. Watch their feet. Their feet just get tangled up there working against Ryan Mitchell. They're never going to call pass interference on that. But I've always looked at that, and they never call that because it's considered incidental contact. If you could get really good at doing that, that could be an awesome technique. If you could get really good at accidentally tripping the receiver.
Incidental on purpose contact, in other words, you're saying. 3rd and 9, a blitz. And Ragone is wrapped up. Josue Ortiz is a defensive tackle who wound up making his 2nd sack of the game.
Well, this is just totally unacceptable from my perspective. You've got Josue Ortiz lined up right there at defensive end in the 3 down. And watch what happens here. Nobody touches him. Greg Van Roten blocks inside. It's hard to know whether it was the running back's responsibility or Van Roten, but when you've got a pro prospect with 8 sacks, somebody might want to block him.
It looks like they're bringing the house against Leprano because of his recent tendencies to have punts blocked. 10 guys on the line for Harvard, but they're only going to bring 3 or 4 of them. Leprano gets the punt away. That is Scott Miller, who is swamped. Josue Ortiz, the defensive star of the Harvard Crimson, already has 2 sacks, and we're still in the first quarter.
How to fix plumber's butt. Step 1, identify the problem. Step 2, carefully remove shirt. Step 3, put on a Duluth long-tail tee. Step 4, double check your work. The Duluth long-tail tee, 3 inches longer to keep you covered. Get one at DuluthTrading.com.
I'm just one part of the big wood. That's all. One little part. And I'm proud to be a part of it.
Walter Camp.
Yale.
John Heisman.
Penn.
Pop Warner.
Cornell.
Joe Paterno.
Brown.
American football was born in the Ivy League. With 53 national champions, 3 Heisman Trophy winners, and an honor roll of national leaders and NFL stars, its campuses are the gold standard for academic and athletic achievement. The 8 Ivy League schools built a game. Tradition lives here.
Josue Ortiz already led the Ivy League with 7 sacks. Now you can make it 9. An incredible student athlete in Carolyn. He's also an amateur dietitian. And there you get a look at him. 9 sacks this season. He has 19 in his Ivy League career for Harvard. So Harvard will take over now on the 28-yard line. Collier Winters, Trevor Scales, the junior, is in the backfield. And flags on the play with the snap. Referee Michael Sechrist will tell us what's happening.
Snap infraction on the offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Jack Kaluba, you see him right there, the junior out of Bergen Catholic in North Jersey. Take a look at it. Right in the middle of your screen. Yeah, that's happened to me before. I shouldn't be laughing, but if you've been there and done that, you'd understand.
The ex-center speaks. 1st and 15. And there you see Trevor Scales with the carry. Brandon Copeland will call his name often throughout the game. Big number 52 in on the stop. The ball to the 27-yard line.
Jack Kaluba, who had the snap infraction, has really had a good year for the Crimson. Their offensive coordinator, Joel Lamb, said he has been a pleasant surprise.
One of these guys that was sort of forced into the lineup due to injury. There is Trevor Scales once again trying to get some of that penalty yardage back. Eric Rask in on the stop, the carry to the 34-yard line. It'll now bring up about 3rd down and 4.
Historically, it's so difficult to run on this Penn defense. They've been the best defense in the Ivy League the last 4 years, but the last game here on Versus, when Yale was at Franklin Field, Alex Thomas rushed for over 200 yards, so you can do it.
Let's see if it'll be Scales or Winters. Winters throws it out to the sideline to tight end Kyle Juszczyk. The pass is complete, but it'll be short of the first down at the 37-yard line. It'll bring up 4th and 1. Jim McGoldrick, who is in the game often for Penn and nickel situations, was the one that made the stop on Juszczyk. So for the 3rd consecutive possession, Harvard with a first down, but then forced to punt the ball away on the next series as Dombrowski again punting away to Matt Hampshire. Hampshire very sure-handed, not that explosive. He'll run this one back from the 32. Met head on and dropped right there. DJ Monroe, number 36, is the guy putting the hit on Hampshire. Not much offense so far at Harvard Stadium.
USA Prime Credit, I am Peggy, here for you.
Peggy? Really? That's cool. Anyway, my card isn't working. Can you help me?
Of course, solving problems is what I do.
Great. So what are you going to do for me, Peggy?
Well, call with solution in the morning.
What?
Sleep well, my friend.
Kids, let's put the dogs back. And yeah, good. Let's end quick like little bunnies.
Want better customer service? Switch to Discover. #1 in customer loyalty. It pays to Discover.
There's a reason our KFC Famous Bowl is famous. Okay, 5 reasons. Layered together for what might be the world's best tasting full meal. How do we make that recipe even more famous?
We put bacon on it.
Wow. Another one for the Colonel. Introducing the new KFC Cheesy Bacon Bowl. Try it right now for only $3.99.
Everything's better with bacon.
No argument here, Rachel. Today's a KFC day. Today tastes so good.
On a dull day, in a ho-hum world, something wonderful is as near as your nose. Just pop up Pop-Tarts. Sprinkled with joy and frosted with fun. They make ordinary extraordinary. So you can make any day joylicious.
Really? Head & Shoulders is for more than dandruff.
Yeah, it does 7 great things, like giving me a healthy scalp and great-looking hair.
We should make that 8 things.
Dude, why don't you just use this stuff?
Head & Shoulders. 7 benefits every bottle.
Since the Ivy League was officially formed in 1956, these are the winningest coaches. Joe Restic of Harvard. Tim Murphy, the current Harvard coach, now has 118. The former Dartmouth coach Bob Blackman. Al Bagnoli second on the list. And the legendary Yale former head coach Carmen Koza at the top of the heap with 179.
Coach Koza is a legend. He's kind of like the Joe Paterno or Bobby Bowden of Yale, a guy that was there for years and years. You can see 40 years in New Haven with the Yale Bulldogs.
Bagnoli in his 20th season as the head coach at Penn. Tim Murphy in his 18th season at Harvard. Murphy, the former head coach at the University of Cincinnati. Before that at Maine, where at age 30 he was the youngest college head coach. Both these guys win at a high percentage. There you see Matt Hansen on the sideline getting his left ankle taped. As Carolyn reported, he is questionable to return, or was questionable, and now he is back on the field. So that's good news for Harvard fans. At left corner. On first down, Colavita is stacked up by the interior of the Harvard line. Tough sledding so far for Penn, trying to run the football. They also had difficulty running the ball last week, but Billy Ragone stepped up with his best career performance, 254 yards passing last week against Princeton when the running game was struggling. That was a pickup of 1.
Well, that's exactly how you have to attack Brandon Colavita. It is extremely rare for one guy to be able to bring him down. You got to get a lot of those maroon colored jerseys, the crimson colored jerseys, to the football.
This time the lefty Ragone is going to throw it up, and it is right into coverage. Intercepted, but out of bounds. Matt Hansen back in the game despite the left ankle injury. Came down with a poorly advised throw, but both feet were out.
Yeah, Ryan Mitchell was the intended receiver, but he fell down. So it was Matt Hansen by himself. Remember, college football, you only have to get one down. His left foot came down clearly out of bounds.
Right on the line.
Yep, the officials were all over that one.
So it'll be 3rd down and 9 now for Penn. They are 1 for 3 on 3rd down conversions so far.
And neither team wants to be in these 3rd and long situations, but that's where they continue to find themselves.
Ragone rushed by Ortiz and others and just has to dump the ball out. No, there is a flag on the play at the 41-yard line. Ortiz along with Alex Gedeon all over Ragone in the backfield. That's been a common theme so far. Josue Ortiz chasing down Billy Ragone. So the referee's huddling here. That was a 3rd and 9 play. Defensive holding. Ortiz and Tim Murphy waiting to see exactly how this hashes out. Ragone just is getting no time at all to throw the ball on too many occasions so far.
He was running for his life from Josue Ortiz on that play. That's been happening a lot here in the early going.
Holding on the defense, number 1. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
All right, Chris Splinter, the strong safety, the sophomore from Middleton, Massachusetts, called for that infraction. An ill-timed penalty because Harvard had forced Yale into a punting situation, and now, or excuse me, had forced Penn into a punting situation, and now the Quakers have a first down at the 42. Colavita and Schuster lining up in the I formation. Schuster, number 31, typically a blocking back. But Ragone will throw and completes it to Ryan Calvert. Close to first down yardage. The Ryans are his favorite receivers. You saw Ryan Mitchell earlier. Ryan Calvert is another one of his go-to guys, and it will be a first down. Brian Owusu on the coverage.
Watch the zip that Billy Ragone puts on this ball. He rifles it in there. Calvert was working the comeback route against Brian Owusu, man-to-man coverage.
Ragone, previously known as a running quarterback who is much less proficient throwing the ball, but he's becoming more and more comfortable with the Penn playbook, and that was an excellent throw there. That's Colavita. Run out of bounds just inside the Harvard 45-yard line by John Mason. Penn trying to establish that running game that's been their trademark for so long. Hard-nosed football. It's to the 43-yard line to pick up a 4, 2nd and 6.
That sideline got pretty fired up with the way Bam Colavita finished that run, getting an extra 2 or 3 yards there right along the end line. Just sheer power. It's what he's all about, and for years, quite frankly, that's what Penn football has been all about.
Colavita's averaging 5.1 yards a carry. Oh, there's a quick out. Ryan Calvert.
It's almost as if the officials didn't realize he dropped the ball.
The play,
yeah, there you go, guys.
The play continued. It looked like he caught it on one hop and tried to continue. Bagnoli saying, what the heck?
He clearly dropped the ball. I don't know how they take a look at this.
It had me wondering there for a second.
He's at the top of the screen, and you're going to see the throw come to him on the quick wide receiver screen. It clearly drops down. He picks it back up on one hop, but he did it so smoothly, and the Harvard guys tackled him.
The play on the previous play was an incomplete forward pass. It'll be 3rd down. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 21 seconds.
I think Calvert and the officials might have been wondering if it was a lateral and not a forward pass, in which case he would have had to have picked it up and could continue to run.
Yeah, it was clearly a forward pass, and I'm not exactly sure what Al Bagnoli's talking about. I mean, that was an incomplete pass, and then everything after that was just a waste of time and energy for everyone involved.
And a waste of contact. It's now 3rd and 6. Ragone throws it batted up in the air, and Joe Holder came back down with it on the deflection inside the 25-yard line of Harvard. It's not how you draw it up on the chalkboard, but it's just as effective.
The old tip drill that you work on all the time. 3 different players get a hand on it. Take a look at it. First, it's Matt Hansen for Harvard, then Alex Gideon for Harvard, and then Joe Holder, the former walk-on, catches it. These guys couldn't do this again if they tried. 1, 2, 3, and Holder catches it. What a break for the Quakers, and what a great job by Holder to stay with the play.
All the way to the 21-yard line, and Ragone's going to go back to the air again, and he has Ryan Calvert in the end zone. Touchdown. From 21 yards out, Brandon Colavita is the one that gave the time to Billy Ragone to find Ryan Calvert, the fifth-year senior, 5'9", 180 pounds from Studio City, California, and Penn is on the board first.
Billy Ragone had his career high, throwing for 254 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Princeton. So he is very capable of putting some big points on the board with his arm.
The freshman Connor Loftus adds the point after. Penn has won the last time they played here at Harvard Stadium. There's another look at the pass.
Yeah, Calvert just runs a little skinny post right there, gets inside of Hansen, goes low down to the ground to catch the ball.
And he almost lost it.
And almost a little bit of a push off there. Ooh. You look at that. Again, I got to emphasize one more time. There is no instant replay in Ivy League football. That one might have been one that in the NFL gets overturned. We got to take a look at that one.
Calvert's got a smile on the sideline.
Watch the ball all the way through. Is this a clean catch or does it touch the ground? Does it move around? No, that is not a catch.
It touched the ground.
That is not a catch, and that is a huge break early in this game for the Harvard Crimson.
It's not a catch in actuality, but in reality, as we point out, there is no replay. There's no review, so it is an official 21-yard catch for a touchdown. And Penn is now on top 7-0.
You know, the thing Calvert did so great right there was he sold it really well. You know, after the play, he got up, he was excited, he rolled over it after he sort of caught it. And in fairness to the officials, that's a tough one to see right there. And that's why instant replay at other levels of football is so vitally important.
Connor Loftus to Matt Hansen at about the 2. Again, Saitu Smith, the normal kick returner, has been hobbled by a sore ankle. So Hansen brings it out to the 25-yard line. Joey Grosso, number 34, a reserve linebacker, in on the stop.
Let's see if this Harvard offense can finally get on track. We said it earlier. They're averaging 39 points per game and have a winning margin of over 22 points a game during the 7-game winning streak they're on. They have been dominant, churning out over 500 yards of offense the last 5 games. That has not been the case so far today.
And as the first quarter almost comes to an end, they haven't even gotten across the 50-yard line, and Collier Winters is dropped in the backfield for a sack. Jared Shawley in there again, his second sack of the game, his 6th of the season. He's trying to keep up with Josue Ortiz.
Shawley is working there. You can see Shawley working against the freshman right tackle. Look to the right side of your screen. He'll beat Will Whitman. Just pull rush, just power. Will Whitman, of course, true freshman starting right tackle from Lexington, Kentucky. And on that play, Shawley got the better of him to finish up the first quarter.
A rare freshman offensive line starter. So Harvard, with that gaudy offense and all the numbers they're putting up, the Crimson having trouble getting untracked. It'll be 2nd and 13 when we come back to begin the start of the second quarter, with Penn leading by a touchdown.
All over the world, there's a battery that's relied on to help bring children holiday joy. And while it doesn't travel by sleigh or reindeer, it does get around. In fact, every year, Duracell sends loads of batteries to the Mattel Children's Hospital UCLA. Of course, children here and everywhere don't really think about which battery makes their toy run. But still, you'd never want to disappoint. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Brown, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, Penn, Princeton, and Yale. Synonymous with academic and athletic excellence, the Ivies have the broadest intercollegiate programs in the country. That means more teams, sports, and student athletes than any other intercollegiate athletic conference. These men and women combine national competitive success with the best academic records in the NCAA. Experience the Ivy League yourself at ivyleaguesports.com.
Get the whole story with NBC Sports Talk. Mondays and Fridays, join our NFL analysts.
And I just keep coming back to the fact that Andy Reid is ultimately responsible for this.
Tuesday through Thursday, we'll take you deeper inside all the breaking stories. NBC Sports Talk on Versus.
What do you get when you become a Citi Thank You Premier Card member? 50,000 thank you points when you spend $2,500. That's right, 50,000 thank you reward points. But what can you get with those 50,000 points?
I got this amazing flat screen TV.
For only 41,000 points, I got a kayak for weekends at the lake.
We used our points to get $500 in gift cards for our nephews.
In addition to 50,000 thank you points, you also get a companion airline ticket on us right away. And another airline ticket every year after that. Call 800-601-8823 now. Become a card member and earn 50,000 thank you points and airline tickets. And you'll also get our 0% introductory APR offer. Plus, no annual fee for the first year. There are no point caps, no expiration on points, and no blackout dates. Call 800-601-8823 today for your Citi Thank You Premier Card. Or visit Citi.com/rewards.
It's a huge day for college football here on Versus. Coming up right after this, TCU against number 5 Boise State at 10 Eastern, Arizona State and Washington State in a Pac-12 showdown. And in our Lowe's building toward the BCS, you see the Boise State Broncos right now with that perfect 8-0 record, Ross, are number 5 in the BCS standings.
And I think they have a legitimate shot. If you look at the teams ahead of them, I think Stanford might lose tonight to Oregon. Oklahoma State, of course, on December 3rd has to play Oklahoma in Bedlam. And we'll have to see what would happen if Alabama would still only have 1 loss. My vote, although I don't actually get one, but my vote for right here would be to see an undefeated Boise State play against LSU, should it get to that. I'm not in favor of an SEC West rematch.
As the whistles begin the start of the second quarter, Penn has not allowed a touchdown now in 10 quarters of play. Second and 13 there is Zach Bowden, the freshman, for short yardage. Back up to about the 24, 25 yard line, actually. The last touchdown Penn allowed was to Yale. We were there in the third quarter on October the 22nd. That's 158 minutes plus of game time since the Quakers have actually allowed a score.
And it's
touchdown.
A relatively young defense. They've just gotten so much better over the course of the season.
On 3rd and 10, we'll see what Winters and Harvard can do. That's Zach Bowden out of the backfield, the freshman. He's got to get to the 35. And he is just short as he's met by a swarm of defenders. Anthony Marino, number 11 in there. Daniel Ritt, 13, also arrived on the scene, along with Jason Rasmussen. Ball marked at the 34. It will be 4th and 1.
Harvard still has their offense on the field, but now here comes the punting unit. Excellent job, as you can see, from the Penn defense rallying to the football. Penn plays a lot of zone coverage. They'll let you catch it in front of them like they did there with Bowden, and they believe that they're going to tackle you short of the down marker, and that's exactly what happened right there.
Harvard's now 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. Dombrowski punting for the 4th time in the game, lofts it up to Matt Hampshire, who calls for the fair catch at the 23-yard line. And that's where Billy Ragone and the Penn Quakers will take over. Look at the offense that the Harvard Crimson have shown in their last 5 games, 40 points or more each game, and a 50 spot on Princeton.
They've been an absolute juggernaut, but as we mentioned, clearly not so far today. So you got to give a tremendous amount of credit to what Penn is doing defensively. It's been the defensive line, Shally and Taylor Brown get in the backfield. Harvard hasn't been able to run the ball, and the coverage has been there, surprisingly.
So let's see what Penn can do with this possession. Jeff Jack is in the game and gets that carry. Might have gotten a yard to the 25. Jack, the junior from Royal City, Washington.
Looks like the ball might have come out.
And it did. And Harvard has recovered. Harvard comes up with a key turnover.
Josue Ortiz was in there again. Just a handoff to Jack. Let's see who gets the ball out of there. He gets hit first. by the linebacker, Matt Martindale, and then in came the rest of the Harvard Crimson. What a play by Martindale, one of the backup linebackers who gets in on this rotation. And Josue Ortiz was in there as well. Harvard has got to make the most of this field position. Look for them to go up top right away.
Well, the Crimson offense couldn't drive across midfield, but the turnover now has them at the 24-yard line of Penn. Winters shifts around, has a man wide open in the end zone. It's a touchdown to Cameron Brate, one of those tandem of tight ends that's been so successful for Harvard this season. And just like that, a turnover, and Harvard capitalizes.
Well, I said, Randy, look for them to go up top. Teams do this all the time. After a turnover, they call it sudden change. He fakes it to Scales, and you can see Brate steps outside, comes back inside, and was able to beat Sebastian Jaskowski on the play. These tight ends for Harvard are so athletic, and Brate, only a sophomore, making a big play.
Number 37, David Mothender, in for the point after. And it is good. Harvard this season +7 in turnover differential. Penn is now -4. And that particular turnover cost the Quakers dearly. As we are early in the second quarter, we are now tied at 7.
Being in these canyons is like being on another planet. The original picture of Christian just doesn't do the experience justice.
Your Second Shot is a project by Canon.
I was excited about the challenge of coming out here and getting a photo that really represents what we do.
With the HS system that takes sharper images in low light.
Check it out, it's great.
We're giving people their moments back.
The employee of the month is Spark Card in Capital One. Spark Cash gives me the most rewards of any small business credit card. It's hard for my crew to keep up with 2% cash back on every purchase every day. 2% cash back? That's setting the bar pretty high. Thanks to Spark, owning my own business has never been more rewarding.
Introducing Spark, the small business credit cards from Capital One. Get more by choosing unlimited double miles or 2% cash back on every purchase every day.
What's in your wallet? This guy's amazing.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded, all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because of who is behind the wheel.
Thanks, Dad.
See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
2 big off-season additions bolstered the Buffalo back line. But the Devils aim to give the New York Sabres a trial by fire. Wednesday night hockey, Devils, Sabres. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Versus.
Welcome back to Cambridge here. Take a look at Cameron Brate, tie score. You'll see him, the tight end right there. He'll be working against Sebastian Jaskowski. Watch the top of it, right foot right there. That right foot right there is what got Sebastian Jaskowski out of position. Brate didn't catch it the first time, but he caught it in bounds. We are all tied here in Cambridge.
1 minute, it looked like the Penn defense was in complete control. Then that hit by Matt Martindale, recovered by Josue Ortiz. And now we are dead even.
Did you expect anything else? I mean, I said it from the start. This is basically de facto Ivy League championship. These two teams have been among the 2 best in the league for years and years and years. In the last couple of years, it really has been the Ivy League championship game, and this year is no different.
Ortiz, 4 tackles, 2 sacks for a total of 14 yards in losses. The key fumble recovery there. Josue having a big game already, and we've just barely got a quarter in the books.
You can see how windy it is. That's why they're actually going to have a holder here for the kickoff. You can see Chris Splinter has to hold the football for Mothander.
Deep are Hampshire and Spencer Kulsar, the freshman. And it will be Hampshire who misplays it. He's going to run it out from the end zone. And he will get very little as Splinter, the kid who was actually holding the ball for Moffener, sprints all the way downfield and makes the tackle on Matt Hampshire.
Well, he probably wasn't blocked because whoever had him initially probably said, I don't need to block him. He's got to be down on his knees holding the ball for Mothander.
Splinter, the sophomore, showing some determination there. So Penn will begin this one at the 11-yard line. Hampshire tried to field it at the 2 or 3 yard line. It got out of his grasp, rolled back into the end zone. And a return of only about 13 yards. Brandon Colavita at the back of that I formation, and there is Bam across the 10-yard line for a pickup of about 2 or so. Short yardage for the Quakers. They have not been able to establish the run so far with any sort of effectiveness.
No, but you'd rather be getting 2 and 3 yards just to stay on schedule as opposed to lost yardage on first down. There's nothing that hurts a drive more aside from penalties than runs for negative yardage. As long as you're getting positive yardage, you at least have a chance on that series.
2nd and 8. Ragone tries to loft it up in the direction of Calvert. We have a flag on the play. Coverage by Matthew Hansen and Splinter. Calvert's the one that just caught, in quotation marks, that touchdown pass that gave Penn a touchdown a little earlier.
Pass interference, defense, number 3, spot foul, automatic, first down.
So the senior Hansen as the crowd boos.
Let's take a look at it. Working against Ryan Calvert. Puts his hands on him right there. Boy, that's a little ticky-tack if you ask me.
Not much there. And that's spoken by an offensive guy.
Well, and you can see Matt Hansen was not happy about the call. He said, what? What did I do?
So it's a first down for Colavita. There he's got a little room. Skirting the sideline as Bobby Schneider, number 35, is over there to force Colavita out.
Clearly their best run of the day for the Penn Quakers. Just a power scheme to the left side. It's the first time they really got a decent hole for Colavita, and they're going back on the ball.
Yeah, on 2nd and 2, quickly back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be Colavita again. This time he is caught in the backfield by who else? Josue Ortiz.
And that might be the last time they go right on the ball, because that did not go real well. That play was not well blocked at all. Look at Ortiz right in the middle of your screen, working on the inside of the right guard. He just eludes Bush. And then watch the athleticism to make the play. Those defensive tackles almost never make the play when they're backside like that. He is just so athletic. Again, a rare specimen for this league.
It's a veritable highlight reel already for Ortiz. On 3rd down and 5, that's Holder. Makes the catch, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle. And Holder for first down yardage to the 45-yard line. The captain, Alex Gadian, the middle linebacker, finally brought him down, but not before a big gain by Holder.
Holder's just a fantastic story. I was talking with the wide receivers coach, Rick Ulrich, before the game. I said, Holder's really a walk-on? He said, yeah, he only caught 13 balls as a senior. His high school team was so talented that he didn't really have enough videotape for them to offer him a roster spot. He walked on and he earned it the old-fashioned way.
He's 4th on the team in receptions. He's got 18. He's the one that came down with that tipped reception a little earlier in the game. And there's Ryan Mitchell for a pickup of 2 or 3 yards. Dan Minamidi, number 9, the senior from Escondido, California. Former quarterback in high school, made the stop there. There he is. Minamidi, quite the colorful guy, according to his teammates. As second-year starter. It's now going to be 2nd and 7. That was a pickup of 3. Penn is going with the I formation a lot here in recent possessions. That's Greg Schuster in the front of the I, Colavita in the back, but it'll be play action. Ragone pumped once and finally just threw it out of bounds. There was nobody open. Let's go down to Carolyn.
Well, Randy, despite not playing any defense until he came to Harvard, Dan Benamitti's actually having a very successful season. He's made his way all the way to a full-time starting spot. His teammates say he's the kind of guy who wears a tank top in the middle of winter. His career aspirations actually are to work in Boston in finance for a little while so he can go back to his hometown of California and open up Dan's tank top shops right on the beach, Randy.
And I wouldn't bet against him either.
I wouldn't bet against any of these kids after talking with them yesterday.
They're pretty impressive. There is Ryan Calvert. Penn is going with these little quick hits to Mitchell, to Calvert. That one just across the 45-yard line. Matthew Hansen in on the stop, and that'll bring up 4th down, and Penn will have to punt it away.
Again, you see the quick wide receiver screen. They get the offensive lineman out in front, but they don't get a real good block either on Matt Hansen, number 3, or on number 46, Alexander Norman, as the Harvard Crimson defense is able to hold. Pretty conservative play call right there on 3rd and 7.
4th and 2. Leprano drops the snap. Remember, he had 2 punts blocked last week. He does get that one away, and it'll take a sideways spin. And given what could have happened after that snap, the Penn Quakers will take that outcome. The ball rolls out of bounds at the 25-yard line. A close call for Al Bagnoli's Penn Quakers and for the junior punter, Scott Leprano. Right in his hand. Snap wasn't that bad, but he did manage to get it off.
The most headroom per dollar of any car in America from $10,990. The all-new Nissan Versa sedan. Innovation upsized. Innovation for all. The most legroom per dollar of any car in America from $10,990. The all-new Nissan Versa sedan. Innovation upsized. Innovation for all.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed mortgage is an amazing 3.99%, APR 4.22%. So you're thinking, hey, I'd love to take advantage of today's low rate, but what happens if rates drop in the future? I don't want to pay closing fees twice. When you work with Quicken Loans, you don't have to worry about that. It's called our Quicken Loans Rate Drop Advantage program. And if you need to refinance again in the next 7 years, we'll cover a majority of your closing fees. It's a simple way for you to win no matter where rates are headed. So give us a call today or visit us online at quickenloans.com to learn more about today's super low rates on all of our great mortgage products. And be sure to ask about our Rate Drop Advantage program. Our mortgage bankers are ready to help you learn more about the Rate Drop Advantage here at Quicken Loans, the only mortgage lender who allows you to refinance without worry. It's just one more example of how everything we do at Quicken Loans is engineered to amaze.
The Mountain West and the Pac-12 on Versus. TCU at 5th-ranked Boise State, and later, Arizona State at Washington State. College football on Versus.
We're back at Harvard Stadium. There's Harvard senior quarterback Collier Winters. He's only 5'11", but Carolyn Mano this summer he had a chance to show off his throwing accuracy.
That's right, Randy. He does have aspirations to go to the NFL despite his size, and he opened up some eyes at the Manning Passing Academy down in New Orleans this summer. He won the skills competition. He actually beat out guys like Andrew Luck and Kellen Moore. He got congratulated by the Manning family afterwards for that accomplishment and for his arm. He said Cooper Manning actually was the one that gave him the hardest time, saying, nobody knows who you are, but I'm sure that Cooper Manning can probably relate to that.
He's a never-say-die kid. He wants to play in the NFL, but at 5'11", the reality is that according to the Elias Sports Bureau, not a single pass has been thrown this year in the NFL by a quarterback under 6 feet tall. Trevor Scales gets the handoff from Winters, and look at Scales carrying defenders to the 29-yard line for a gain of 4. And speaking of Trevor Scales, he is our Kay Jewelers go-to guy. 4th in the Ivy League in rushing. This junior from Stone Mountain, Georgia, averaging just over 86 yards rushing a game. Trevor Scales leads the team with 7 touchdowns.
And he's limping off after that last play. The freshman Bowden is out there.
We make him our Kay Jewelers go-to guy, and then he limps off the field. There's Bowden with first down yardage. Staying on his feet to midfield. Zach Bowden, the freshman from Atlanta. Cameron Jones brings him down.
Take a look at one more time. This is the injury that happened to Trevor Scales. Looked to me like it happened at the tail end of that play. Looks like he got rolled back on a little bit. Hope he's okay.
In the meantime, Bowden, his replacement, picked up a big gain there. Look out from the backside there as Winters trying to get away from the rush and can't. Joe Silbersweig makes the stop. Matt Hampshire was also back there. He was the first guy who was trying to catch Winters from the blind side. There's Hampshire. Forced him right into the arms of the senior Silbersweig.
That's the second or third time today I thought that Winters had enough time initially to get the ball out of his hands. That's a real skill for quarterbacks at any level. You kind of have to have a sense. You only get about 3.5 seconds. If you wait any longer than that, as good as this Harvard offensive line is, the Penn Quakers will be coming.
And that sack resulted in a loss of 5. They're trying to counteract the rush there with a screen pass to Bowden. And Matt Hampshire all over that one for no gain. Jared Sholley also in the backfield as they were trying to set up the screen pass.
Matt Hampshire out in space. We said it before. He can really do it all. He's from my neck of the woods. He went to Whitehall High School, which is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And he has been a dynamic playmaker for this team for the last 2 years in a row.
Had that 25-yard interception return last week for a touchdown against Princeton. Offense, defense, special teams. Again, Winters is pressured. The ball comes out. There's a scramble for it at the 40-yard line. And Harvard will retain possession. Once again, Winters harassed in the backfield.
And it was Hampshire again. Look at him, left side of your screen, off the edge. Pretty much on cue. We're talking about him. Here he comes, going all the way around the edge. Did just enough to get Winters to lose the football. That left hand hit Winters' left elbow, and that jarred the ball loose. He was working against the tight end, Brait. Just a tremendously athletic play by Hampshire, almost on cue.
It brings up 4th and 20, another punt by Dombrowski. Calvert is now back to return, and he calls for a fair catch at the 15-yard line. There's Matt Hampshire. He normally returns punts, but after all he did on that series, they had Ryan Calvert back there for the fair catch. We're tied at 7.
There's a reason our KFC Famous Bowl is famous. Okay, 5 reasons. Layered together for what might be the world's best tasting full meal. How do we make that recipe even more famous?
We put bacon on it.
Wow. Another one for the Colonel. Introducing the new KFC Cheesy Bacon Bowl. Try it right now for only $3.99.
Everything's better with bacon.
No argument here, Rachel. Today's a KFC day. Today tastes so good.
Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Juan Manuel Marquez. 2 of the decade's best. 2 epic battles.
Hard right hand by Marquez. Follows up with another. Pacquiao comes back with 2 big left hands. Pacquiao once again wants to fight fire with fire.
Now 2 of the world's best collide for a 3rd showdown. Pacquiao Marquez 3. Coming soon. Live on pay-per-view.
How to speak Australian.
The perpetrator is believed to be 7 feet tall and, quote, terrible smelling. In other news today, the Minister of
Identity theft. Beer. Foster's, Australian for beer.
Hey guys, I know I told you that Head & Shoulders for more than dandruff, how it gives me a healthy scalp and great looking hair. But who used mine up?
It was Heinz.
Seriously? You lying fool.
Head & Shoulders. 7 benefits every bottle.
During the break on the Harvard sideline, there were trainers working on the tailback, the junior tailback, Trevor Scales, who is apparently an ankle injury of some kind. Let's go down to Carolyn.
Yeah, Randy, he's getting his right ankle taped back right now. Seems like he's going to be probable to return. That's what trainers have told me, so he should be good to go. Just have a right ankle injury right now, Randy.
Fortunately, they have the freshman in Zach Bowden, who's capable of stepping in, has gotten a lot of playing time this year.
Well, and they do that really across the board. They play 10 defensive linemen, 7 linebackers. Harvard plays a lot of guys for this very situation. they feel very comfortable when one guy goes down with plugging in the next guy because that person's already gotten a bunch of playing time.
So once again, an offense is backed up deep into its own end of the field from the 15-yard line. We're going on a designed keeper, will lose a yard as John Mason, the junior weak side linebacker, in on the stop. Ragone is the second leading rusher on the Penn team with 4 running touchdowns this season as well. He's got one 40-yard run this year. This time he's going to the air. And the pass is caught by Ryan Calvert. A big gain to the 43-yard line. A 29-yard pickup. Matthew Hansen, number 3 on the coverage.
Yeah, and Hansen's frustrated because he had excellent coverage. This is bump and run, man-to-man, running with him stride for stride. Billy Ragone couldn't have thrown a better ball if he tried. And I think if Hansen had gotten his head around earlier and had found the football, he would have been able to tip it away. Great concentration by Calvert.
Yeah, look at that. Excellent catch. Good coverage as well. The snap is fumbled. Picked up by Colavita. Trying to make a little lemonade out of that near disastrous snap. He'll pick up yardage to the 47-yard line.
Take a look at what happened. Billy Ragone just never got the ball from center. He never caught it cleanly from Chris Bush. Colavita's so low to the ground anyway, it was able for him to pick it up and then run. It's amazing how often Colavita ends up burrowing into and through a defender for an extra 2 or 3 yards.
That was a 4-yard pickup somehow. 2nd and 6. Ryan Calvert, he's all over the place, to the 49-yard line. Pickup of 2 with Brian Owusu, number 6, in on the stop.
Excellent play by Owusu. He got a lot of playing time as a freshman 2 years ago. Then he was hurt last year. His brother Chris will be playing tonight, or at least is on the Stanford team. He will not be playing tonight after suffering an injury last week, but that's got to be a pretty cool family. You have one son playing football for Stanford, one son playing football for Harvard. They got some tough decisions on Saturdays.
One's on scholarship and one isn't. It is 3rd and 4 for Ragone and the Quakers. A quarterback draw, and he is caught from behind by number 45, Matt Martindale, the guy who forced the big fumble. We have a late flag. A late flag has come in as well. Flag thrown by the field judge, William Moran.
What a play by Martindale off the edge, just using his hand to trip up Ragone. Just grab his ankle.
During the dead ball period, personal foul on the offense, number 73. 15-yard penalty for the end of the previous play. 4th down.
Right guard Mike Pinchotti called for that personal foul. It was not going to be a 1st down anyway, but now Penn has backed up another 15 yards. And they'll punt it away from their own line of scrimmage as their own 32-yard line. Scott Miller will be back deep to receive Scott Leprano's punt. Again, Leprano dropped that last snap. This one also low. The rush was on, but he got it away. Fair catch called for by Miller at the 30-yard line. These Penn punts are an adventure. But Leprano getting another one away. 3:08 remaining in the first half. Harvard and Penn tied at 7.
You're a marked man, Jack.
Get him, get him!
You owe a lot of money to some bad people. It just so happens I have a solution to your little problem. A race. 3,000 miles from San Francisco to New York. Winner gets $25 million.
And if I lose?
Then you're dead. Need for Speed, The Run. Rated T for teen. PlayStation.
Average work pants versus a giant angry beaver. Duluth Trading Fire Hose work pants versus a giant angry beaver. Duluth Trading Fire Hose work pants. Tougher than an angry beaver's teeth. Get a pair at DuluthTrading.com.
Tonight on NFL Turning Point, it was a Super Bowl 42 rematch. And once again, an unknown grabbed a giant upset. NFL Turning Point with Dan Patrick. Tonight at 9 on Versus.
Coming up shortly at the end of the half, we'll get the latest on the Penn State controversy from NBC News, plus scores and highlights and a preview of today's TCU-Boise State matchup. All that in the Geico halftime report with Liam McHugh, Doug Flutie, and Roland Williams. Stay tuned for that. We've got 3 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the first half. Tied at 7 here at Harvard Stadium. Harvard, the offensive juggernaut this season in the Ivy League, has not really materialized in the first half. There's the freshman Zach Bowden changing directions, and Matt Hampshire gets him in the backfield for a loss of 4 yards. Hampshire has been everywhere.
Excellent discipline by Hampshire, staying home on the backside and then being able to knife through there at the very tail end of the play and make that tackle on Bowden. You'll see him come flying in there, elude the block of Winters, and make the play.
A loss of 5 on 2nd and 15. Chris Lordich on the receiving end of that pass from Winters, the 5th-year senior from Chalfront, Pennsylvania, to the 33-yard line. It'll now be 3rd down and 7. Harvard trying to get something going. A turnover gave him the ball on the 24-yard line a little earlier.
Way too many 3rd and long so far today for the Crimson.
And they haven't been successful on any of them, I don't believe. There's Winters over the middle. That one is a strike for a first down to tight end Kyle Juszczyk.
Juszczyk is an absolute weapon. Last week he had 7 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They list him as a wide receiver, but he's really a tight end that they can flex out because he's so versatile.
A 2nd-year starter, good blocker. He can be part of a 2 tight end set tight to the line. They can put him in the slot. That pass complete. Chris Lordich down the right sideline. A perfectly thrown ball by Winters. Daniel Ritt, number 13 on the coverage, but that was a strike.
He was working initially against Anthony Marino, and he just beat him at the line of scrimmage and was able to get it. It's the top of your screen. Winters looks at him from the start and just fires it out there. It almost looked like Marino hesitated for a second, and Lourdes just kept running.
On first down, Winters. Little too much juice on that one over the middle. Zach Bowden, the intended receiver. Steve Lias almost came up with the interception. Number 44, the linebacker for Penn. There he is, the junior from Pittsburgh. Missed a couple of games due to injury, but back in the starting lineup for the last few weeks. 2nd and 10 from the 19-yard line. And Winters is going to pull it down. Out of bounds at around the 15. Fred Craig, number 7, was right there.
That's something that Winters can do. I mean, he had over 100 yards rushing against Dartmouth in the snow game where the Crimson ran the ball 55 times. He can make plays with his feet. We haven't really seen any designed runs for him so far today, but that was a good pickup.
Picked up 5 yards. 3rd and 5. Winters has Bowden right behind him. And there's Bowden, the freshman. All the way into the end zone for the touchdown. A 14-yard run around the left side by the freshman from Atlanta. And Harvard is taking the lead with 1:06 to play in the half.
Watch Zach Bowden come into your living room, extremely well blocked. You see Juszczyk on the edge there, on Fred Craig. Bowden didn't even have to do that much, just makes one cut. And there was a lot of green grass in front of him.
On that play, Hampshire missed a tackle that led to the touchdown. Mothender adds the point after. And the Crimson at 5-0 in Ivy League play have taken a 14-7 lead. The offense coming to life. Bowden with 6 carries for 41 yards after that.
One more look at it. You can see Matt Hampshire in the middle of your screen was slow to read it. Ritt misses a tackle. Hampshire not quite able to get there. One more look. You see Murphy pull in front. Collins as well. But it was Bowden's little wiggle there where he beat Daniel Ritt, the safety number 13. That was the key. I think I lied. I didn't give him enough credit earlier. I said there was a lot of room to run there. There was a lot of room to run. But Bowden was able to make the safety, whose responsibility is the alley, make him miss. And then Hampshire not able to make the play either.
Coach is so complimentary of the freshman. He has deceptive power, according to Tim Murphy. He makes people miss in open space. Said he is prone to some freshman mistakes, so he was a little bit worried about him in big games, but this is a big game, and Bowden is coming up strong after the injury to Trevor Scales. So it'll be Mothender if we can get the ball to stay on the tee. Matt Hampshire and Spencer Colsar will be back deep for Penn.
It's always a good barometer of how windy it really is. You know, whether or not the ball stays on the tee. Because people will say, oh, it's so windy, but if the ball stays on the tee, how windy can it really be?
Yeah.
The ball keeps falling off the tee, so it must be pretty windy.
Yeah, Chris Splinter is going to get an encore here as the holder for Mothner. And remember, the last time he did this, it was Splinter who went all the way down the field to make the stop on Hampshire at the 10-yard line.
I never wanted to be that guy. I never wanted to be the hold guy. I always had this,
me too.
I always had this irrational fear that they would kick my finger right there and it would really hurt.
Hampshire is going to down this one in the end zone after trying to bring the last one out. Good call. With 1:06 remaining in the first half. Let's see what Penn can do now. Ragone is pretty good at this 2-minute offense.
He is. You see Zach Bowden one more time with what he was able to do, but there's Billy Ragone in this Penn offense. In other years, Randy, you would think, well, man, Penn, you know, from the 20-yard line, a minute left, this is not really what they do because they were such a run-heavy team. But as I mentioned before, Billy Ragone having a pretty good day today, 121 yards already, had a career-high 254 and 3 touchdowns last week. They are capable of getting big chunks of yardage in the passing game. We saw that here on Versus a couple times against both Columbia and Yale earlier on in the season.
And Ragone has done some of his best passing work this season in this sort of 2-minute offense situation. He's got Colavita right next to him. There you see the first down line presented by Geico. And that pass is complete to Calvert, who gets out of bounds to stop the clock. Close to first down yardage.
That's perfect if you're Penn. Just get about 9 or 10 yards, get out of bounds. Only took 5 seconds off the clock. They would do that all the way down the field if they could.
9 yards in that case. Calvert has been on the receiving end of a lot of these short passes from Ragone. On 2nd and 1, looking right back for Calvert again. He doesn't come up with the catch. He would have been out of bounds anyway. Dan Minamidi knocked the ball loose from Calvert.
Boy, for a guy that never played defense in high school, that was a heck of a shot there by Minamidi. Watch the tail end of this play. Watch that shot. Boom. Hits Ryan Calvert and is able to jaw the ball loose.
3rd and 1, 56 seconds to play in the half. Jeff Jack is in the backfield, and he'll be the lead blocker for Ragone, who gets the first down. And the clock is stopped because of the first down. The ball at the 32-yard line now. Jack Dittmer in on the stop.
Only the second design run of the game so far for Billy Ragone. I expect to see more of that in the first half. If you're Harvard right now, you want Penn to have to try to throw the ball in the middle of the field and use their timeouts.
Ragone pumps once, brings it down. Found nobody open, runs it out of bounds to stop the clock. Josue Ortiz providing some pressure. What's new? 39 seconds now remaining in the half. Ragone didn't want to force anything right now. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Jeff Jack to Ragone's left. Ragone fires it over the middle, intended for Ryan Mitchell, overthrown. 3rd and 9.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining, which makes this play right here a really interesting one on 3rd down. Because if something were to happen in the field of play short of the 1st down, you wonder if Harvard would call a timeout to try to go out there and block another punt.
So we have a stoppage of play here briefly as the officials look like they're trying to clear the band, the Harvard band maybe, from the corner of the field. I don't know exactly what was going on.
They were in front of the play clock down there.
Ah. But the play clock is pretty important at this stage of the game here. Although Penn is going to be trying to get things off pretty quickly. Now that we've got that little snafu straightened out, Penn comes back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 9.
Not quite the Stanford band on the field.
Again, the little quick hit to Calvert. They've been doing that repeatedly. Matthew Hansen in on the stop. So it'll be 4th down. The clock is still running. The officials rule that Calvert did not get out of bounds. The ball's on the 38-yard line, and right now on 4th and 9, it's just going to tick down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like either team is going to use their timeouts. It looks like they're both okay with where things are, although now here late, Harvard's going to use one of theirs.
With 5 seconds left. Well, you know what they may be trying to do? With 2 blocked punts last week, Lopano, 3 for the year, 5 for his career at Penn. Maybe they're going to try to bring in the house. Let's go down to Carolyn Mano.
Well, Randy, I don't think Tim Murphy was anticipating on using that timeout so late. He's been signaling for the timeout over here for a while, and he continued to get louder and louder until the referees finally saw him. He meant to take that timeout about 5 seconds earlier, Randy.
There's their first timeout of the first half, 30-second timeout. Please set the game clock to 11 seconds.
All right, so they're going to give him 6 seconds for his efforts.
Good ears, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Carolyn was all over that one.
She was. So there'll be 11 seconds left, 4th and 4, when Scott Lopano
that
punts
could be,
it away.
And if you think about it, Randy, that could be significant because if Harvard were able to block the punt, there might still be enough time on the clock to get a field goal attempt off or one more play off. If there was only 5 seconds left, if you block a punt, unless you return it, you might not get anything out of it.
And they've come close a couple of times, and this is a botched snap as well. And the special teams woes for Penn on the punting squad continues. Matt Martindale back there again for Harvard. And I tell you what, that late timeout by the Crimson and Tim Murphy paid off in spades.
And a lot of times in those situations, people say, well, why are you going to use your timeouts? This is why you use your timeouts. You make them punt the ball. You make them get a good snap. You make the punter catch the ball and then kick it, and he was not able to do that. Harvard is in business here for a field goal attempt.
Ed Kispert, the long snapper, couldn't get it to Lopano. As a result, we've got 6 seconds left. And there's now a timeout called by Penn. David Mothender was lining up.
Penn.
Mothender will line up for about a
30-second timeout.
It'll be about a 35-yard field goal when we come back. Inside the 30, Mothender's a perfect 8 for 8. Outside the 30 in his 2 years as the place kicker at Harvard, he's only 5 for 12. So a bit iffy here from 35 yards out, but right now Harvard leads 14-7, so this could be a pretty key 3 points here right before we go into halftime. There's Mothander this year with a long of 42 yards. Let's go back to the snap again.
Yeah, you can see Lispert snaps it, one hops it, and Lapano not able to field it. He's got to get that snap up, period.
So turnovers have been crucial, although that, I don't know if you can really classify that. I guess you could as a turnover. So 35-yard field goal attempt by Mothander. And it is good. Mothander splitting the uprights with 2 seconds remaining in the first half. Harvard capitalizing on one pin miscue for a touchdown earlier in the game, capitalizing on another one for that 35-yard field goal.
You got to imagine that field goal might end up being huge later on in this game. You anticipate a close game between arguably the two best teams in the Ivy League, with a tip of the cap to Brown as well. And you can see Penn head coach Al Bagnoli is not happy. I wouldn't be either.
Coaches take such pride in good special teams play.
And mistakes like that just eat at you, because you work on it all the time with the snap and the punt. You can't take those things for granted. I mean, that's why teams at every level in the NFL, that's why they pay snappers good money and punters good money. It's an important aspect of football.
So 17 unanswered points in the first half by the Harvard Crimson after Penn opened up in the first quarter with a 7-0 lead. And this will just probably be sort of a short squib kick, but we'll see. Chris Splinter again is holding for Mothander as they're going to play out these last 2 seconds in the first half. And Mothander does just dribble it down the field. And there's a nice little run back by Penn's number 34, Joey Grosso, backup linebacker, showing a little bit of spunk for an LB. So we're done with the first half here at Harvard Stadium. 17-7 Harvard. Let's go down to Carolyn.
Well, Coach, that timeout really paid off for you, and you've been able to capitalize on a couple of Penn's mistakes. You got the run game going a little bit with that touchdown score. How are you going to help this offense get even more comfortable using that run game in the second half?
I'll tell you, two good defenses. It took a while for us to get a rhythm. Defense came out from a couple of stops, a couple of kicking game things. I felt like we were in a little better offensive rhythm in the second quarter. But bottom line is we got to secure the ball. 17-7. There's some wind is a factor. As long as we take care of the football, we'll be okay.
On the other side, though, Josue Ortiz doing a real nice job of making Ragone uncomfortable. How happy are you with the job that he's doing and in the trenches also?
Josue's done a great job all year. He's one of those guys that basically nobody in our league's been able to block. We can't block him in practice. He makes some plays you just can't coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Randy?
Thanks, Carolyn. That's it for the first half here in Boston/Cambridge, Mass. Let's go now to Liam McHugh in our New York studio for the Geico Halftime Report.
Welcome to the Geico Halftime Report on Versus.
Welcome to our New York studio. I'm Lee McHugh. In the past week, the Penn State family has seen its former defensive coordinator arrested for unspeakable crimes, its president and athletic director depart in disgrace, and its beloved head football coach fired for his actions, or more accurately, his inaction. Today, the Nittany Lions were back on the field, playing host to Nebraska on Senior Day. Final home game of the football season, 20 seniors being recognized before the game. Cornerback Chaz Powell, linebacker Nate Stupar, offensive lineman Quinn Barnum, defensive lineman Devin Still, amongst many others. Now, in the midst of this scandal, defensive coordinator Tom Bradley has taken over as head coach on an interim basis. He's been a part of this program for some 33 years. Emotional scene, a moment of silence before the game to pray for victims of child abuse everywhere. Then 19th ranked Nebraska making their entrance into Beaver Stadium. And for the first time in 46 years, the Nittany Lions walk onto the field without Joe Paterno as their head football coach. In a moment that brought goosebumps to each and everyone who witnessed it before the opening kickoff, both teams met at midfield in a prayer led by Nebraska assistant coach Ron Brown for the victims. It was a scene that sent chills. Now, despite everything, there was, of course, still football to be played in State College. Penn State, not great offensively in the first half, but there was one lone highlight, and it belonged to Curtis Drake. Here on the tip pass, he reels one in for a 31-yard gain for Penn State, but it would not matter. It wouldn't amount into points. Nebraska, however, would get on the board, up 3-0, under a minute to play. It's Amir Abdullah from 2 yards out, his first touchdown of the season. Now, despite all the energy, the emotion, Penn State, despite the fact that they had 176 yards of total offense, they trail 10-0 after the first half. For more on the ongoing Penn State situation, we head down to University Park, where we're joined by NBC News correspondent Craig Melvin. Craig, good afternoon.
Liam, good afternoon to you. You know, they played a video on the scoreboard during the first quarter here. In that video, the new interim president of Penn State said that he looked forward to helping rebuild the trust. That got a great deal of applause inside the stadium. Joe Paterno, the legendary coach that you mentioned, who's led this team since LBJ was president, not here, not facing any criminal charges. However, he has gone out and gotten a high-profile D.C. attorney. The folks we talked to today here overwhelmingly say, despite everything that's happened on campus, they still love Joe Pa. Game day at Penn State with a child abuse scandal front and center.
Help support victims of sexual assault and child abuse.
As groups collected donations outside for child abuse victims inside, Penn State's players and their new interim coach get a standing ovation. Shortly after, Beaver Stadium takes a moment to reflect. And while Coach Paterno will be noticeably absent from the sidelines today, tributes to him seem to be virtually everywhere else around the stadium. Outside the coach's own home, prayers. For Dan Wells, a 1980 graduate who says he's only missed 7 games in 34 years, it's been a rough week to be a Nittany Lion.
It's been a sad week for all of us. It's like there's a death in the family.
A week that saw angry students nearly start a riot on campus. Police arrested 12 at the stadium today, signs of increased security. But last night, signs of a community trying to heal. At a candlelight vigil, students and alums remembered the 8 young boys who are the victims of alleged sexual abuse tied to former assistant coach Jerry Sandusky.
We can show that we care for them, we honor them, we respect them, and at the same time that we can unite as a Penn State student body.
It just feels like we should all be there and just be united for the team and for those kids.
Meanwhile, there will be another vigil this afternoon, 4 o'clock, for the victims of sex abuse. That vigil will happen at the main gates here at Penn State's campus. Liam?
Craig, thanks so much for that report. Now, NBC News' Ron Mott has been taking in the Nebraska-Penn State game from inside Beaver Stadium today, and he joins me now over the phone. Ron, it was an extremely emotional scene leading up to kickoff. What has the atmosphere been like in that first half?
Hey, well, the first half, I mean, the pregame was a little unusual in that it seemed to me that the energy level was a bit down, but it seemed to grow as people started to file into the stadium, much closer to kickoff than I'm normally used to seeing at all the football games I've attended over the years. And I think as much as they really would like to unleash their emotion and passion for their team today, for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like it's there. I mean, I know they're here, they're proud, they won a victory here. Unfortunately for Penn State, they're down 10 at the half, but I think they're finding it hard to summon all that passion and energy that they would have had throughout most of this until, of course, those actions we saw over the weekend their former coaches here. Recognize and appreciate that. I want to see is a little better ball, some points on the board in the second half to try to lead the stadium today, feeling pretty good, at least off the football game.
Ron, we're having a little bit of problems with the phone, so we'll check in with you a little bit later, but thank you so much for that report.
Thank you, sir.
Joining me now, Doug Flutie and Roland Williams. Guys, considering the circumstances, considering everything that's gone on at Penn State during this week, how do you think they actually played on the field?
I think, looking at Penn State's emotional level coming into this game, I think they've done an excellent job. They're flying around the field. I think they're winning the physical battle. The one aspect that I worried about was their defensive preparation to face an option team. and that is showing. Nebraska's making plays in the option game. I think that the distractions during the week, players don't wake up and realize a game is coming until maybe Thursday or Friday.
You know, when I looked at this game, I was looking to see two big areas and how it impacted them. One was penalties, one was turnovers. When you look at the end of the first half, 0 turnovers in this football game, only 2 penalties for Penn State. That says a lot about their preparation and that their heads are in the game as best they can.
Still, Penn State trails by a score of 10-0 at the half. Still to come, back to the field and back to the BCS race. Oklahoma State looks to stay on course for a national title run. The Cowboys matched up with the Red Raiders. We'll have highlights coming up right after this.
All over the world, there's a battery that's relied on to help bring children holiday joy. And while it doesn't travel by sleigh or reindeer, it does get around. In fact, every year, Duracell sends loads of batteries to the Mattel Children's Hospital UCLA. Of course, children here and everywhere don't really think about which battery makes their toy run. But still, you'd never want to disappoint. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Oh, yes, this is powerful stuff. Got me circling like the moon round the sun. Hear me, this is powerful stuff. There's no way for you to give this up.
It's true. You never forget your first Subaru.
The NHL is on Versus. Monday, the Sabres take on the Canadiens. Tuesday, the Avs face the Pens. On Wednesday Night Hockey, the Sabres are back in action against Parise and the Devils. Next week, the NHL is on Versus.
What do you get when you become a Citi Thank You Premier Card member? 50,000 thank you points when you spend $2,500. That's right, 50,000 thank you reward points. But what can you get with those 50,000 points?
I got this amazing flat screen TV.
For only 41,000 points, I got a kayak for weekends at the lake.
We used our points to get $500 in gift cards for our nephews.
In addition to 50,000 thank you points, you also get a companion airline ticket on us right away. And another airline ticket every year after that. Call 800-601-8823 now. Become a card member and earn 50,000 thank you points and airline tickets. And you'll also get our 0% introductory APR offer. Plus, no annual fee for the first year. There are no point caps, no expiration on points, and no blackout dates. Call 800-601-8823 today for your Citi Thank You Premier Card. Or visit citi.com/rewards.
You're watching the Geico Halftime Report on Versus. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. Halftime at Harvard with the home team leading it by a count of 17-7. Let's go from the Ivy League to the Big 12. Number 2, Oklahoma State at Texas Tech. Mike Gundy's crew looking to go to 10-0 for the first time in school history. First quarter, you know who it is. Whedon to Blackman.
There's a reason why they're second in FBS in scoring 50 points a game, but what I was impressed with was the overall play and the defense of Oklahoma State.
Not the defense of Texas Tech, which here clearly missed an assignment. Whedon to Josh Stewart, a 27-yard touchdown. Cowboys led it 21-0 at that point. Tech, remember, they beat Oklahoma. They've lost 2 straight since then, 93-27 combined in those losses, and they're losing here at the half, 49-0. How did they beat the Sooners? Wake Forest at number 9, Clemson. Senior offensive lineman Mason Cloy taking the page out of Ian Johnson's book, the proposal to his girlfriend on the sideline. First quarter, no score until it's Andre Ellington, a 4-yard TD run at 7-zip Clemson, but the Tanner Price answers back.
You know, Clemson really needs this game. They have an opportunity to clinch the Atlantic Division.
That tied it at 7. Andre Ellington, it's tied no more. He dives over the goal line. That made it 14-7 Clemson, and that is where we stand in the third quarter early on. Clemson 8-1, looking to clinch their division. Florida at number 13, South Carolina. Everyone's pumped up for this one, including the South Carolina mascot. First quarter, 3rd and goal. John Brantley to Deontay Thompson, but good tackling here.
Yeah, stop him short, settle over a field goal, and get the ball back.
So late in the first, 3-0. It's Connor Shaw using his feet.
You know, Connor Shaw had a concussion last week, showing no ill effect, running hard, and here taking off for the pylon.
Before they missed a field goal, but here in the end zone, Connor Shaw to give his team the lead, 7-3. Shaw, 2 rushing TDs on the day, counting for both of them. South Carolina leads this one at the half, 14-3. Back to the Big 12. Texas right now trailing. They're on the road. Missouri leading this one 14-3 at the start of the third quarter. Big day so far for Franklin from Missouri, 10 of 12, 119 yards. He's also rushed for a touchdown. Moving on, Michigan State at Iowa. Kirk Cousins trying to lead the Spartans to their first win in Iowa in 22 years. And here, you know who he's hooking up with? B.J. Cunningham.
I hate turning my back to the defensive line, but excellent job of selling the fake, turn his back, and making a good throw.
Later, it's Cousins dropping back, finding Edwin Baker a 17-yard touchdown.
Baker with a great reaction to the ball on the back shoulder throw, makes a nice catch.
Spartans looking to pad their lead in the Legends division of the Big Ten and doing a good job of it in Iowa. They lead it by a count of 31-7. Right now, let's take things to the Division III level, where every year Amherst and Williams square off. The game is always a big event, but this season, for the first time in nearly half a century, the number 50 will have an on-field presence for Williams College. From 1960 to 1962, Mike Riley starred at Williams, but in 1964, at age 21, he died of Hodgkin's disease. His jersey was packed away with a "Do Not Issue" warning written in bold on the box. Riley's memory has been honored privately for decades. Today, his teammates honoring him publicly. Amherst and Williams, 126 all-time meeting, referee with a commemorative coin honoring Mike Riley. His 3 brothers on field for the ceremony. Let's go to the game. First quarter, no score. Amherst quarterback Brian McMahon fakes the handoff, keeps himself 15 yards. He's in. It's 7-zip.
The zone read works at the Division III level as well.
Later, second quarter, McMahon is pass tipped. Senior Dan O'Mara of Williams collects an interception for the 4th straight game. Second quarter now, 7-6 Amherst. Eric Bunker untouched from 2 yards.
You know, I've covered this game before, and the emotional level of this game is equal to none other, and it's a great atmosphere for student athletes.
Right there, you saw Bunker. He set the single-season record for rushing TDs for Amherst. It is 24-6 at the half. Still to come, the story of a signal caller facing a decision slightly more significant than whether to throw deep or check down. We'll check in with Patrick Witt next.
Care can be expensive. So to save some money, I found one that uses robots instead of real people. Because robots work for free.
Good morning, female child.
Are there flaws? Maybe.
There's an easier way to save. Get online. Go to geico.com. Get a quote. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This is for Cindy. I wanted to get her something special this year.
You went to Kay. She'll love it. Trust me, I know.
More milk?
Thanks, Dave, but I gotta fly.
Gift-giving experts agree on Kay. Save 20% on select diamond fashion jewelry. One more reason Kay is the #1 jewelry store in America.
I love it.
Santa said you would. No, really.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Next, TCU travels to Boise State to determine the true king of the mountain. And in the Pac-12, the hungry Washington State Cougars take a swipe at the Arizona State Sun Devils as they close in on a division title. TCU at 5th-ranked Boise State. Next, and tonight, Arizona State at Washington State at 10. College football on Versus.
Harvard Stadium. The Crimson are, of course, home today, but next week they'll travel to New Haven for what is known as the game as they take on the Yale Bulldogs. In an otherwise very grim week, inspirational stories like Patrick Witt's provide a welcome respite. Witt, the former Nebraska quarterback whose love of learning led him to transfer to Yale 2 years ago, is a Rhodes Scholarship finalist. And next week, his twin passions of academics and athletics converge in an inconvenient but remarkable way. NBC News' Ann Thompson reports.
At 6'4", Patrick Witt is every inch the football hero, the senior quarterback, the most accurate passer in Yale history.
This could very well be the last time I step on the field.
But on Saturday, November 19th, he faces the most difficult decision of his 22 years. To be in New Haven, Connecticut to lead Yale against Harvard at noon, or in Atlanta, Georgia, to interview for the prestigious Rhodes Scholarship.
I keep on hearing the phrase, it's a good problem to have from people, but it doesn't make it any easier to decide.
Patrick is also an exceptional student, a history major with a 3.91 GPA, who left big-time football at Nebraska in 2009 for the academic rigor of Yale. But that contest against Harvard is not just any game, it is the game.
Can you ever imagine missing it?
No. And to leave your teammates and leave them to fend for themselves, so to speak, it wouldn't feel right.
This will be the 128th meeting in one of the oldest rivalries in college football.
But there are two teams in Patrick's life, the one on the field and the one in the classroom. And to each, he feels an obligation.
And each is giving surprising advice.
People in academics telling me you got to play the game. People on the team saying you got to go to the interview.
The answer to Patrick's choice may lie in the life he leads, an extraordinary individual in the ultimate team game.
A decision to be made, but first a game to be played. Yale at Princeton. Patrick Witt, the most accurate passer in Yale history. But first, it's the Tigers. Trailing 3-zip. Chuck DeBillio breaks free, zigzags, and he's in. A 19-yard score. Tigers up 7-3. Yale answering Patrick Witt. He's smart, he's talented, and Doug, he's also lucky.
He's a little bit lucky here. This reminds me of Baltimore Colts way back against the Cowboys. Unitas to John Mackey for a touchdown. Super Bowl IV, I believe.
Instead of Mackey, it's Cameron Sandquist, a 59-yard score. How about Witt? 265 yards and 3 touchdowns. Still a lot of ball game to play. But, of course, the story with Witt is the decision he has to make. He says he can't imagine missing this game. So what should he do?
I think having the opportunity to be a finalist for the Rhodes Scholar, you have to take advantage of that opportunity. It's why the kid went to Yale, transferred from Nebraska. It's what it's all about. And it brings back that they are first, they are students. Second, they are athletes.
I think that the coaches and everybody should force them to go. If the NCAA can hold you out when you fail academically, if you do great, shouldn't they push you to go? I think he should go and pursue it, and I don't think it's going to hurt his draft status that much, so he should definitely go.
As a Rhodes Scholar, I would just say that I trust his judgment. No offense to you two, but I'll take his word over yours. From a slightly messy overlap of sports and studies to a student seeking athletic perfection, Kellen Moore has already set the all-time wins record for Division I quarterbacks, and this afternoon he'll look to lead Boise State past Mountain West foe TCU. Here's Paul Burmeister and Sean King with the preview.
Kellen Moore is the winningest quarterback in the history of college football, and Chris Peterson's Broncos unbeaten, ranked 5th in the BCS, but a stiff challenge today at home against the TCU Horned Frogs. No surprise, TCU and Boise State, the top 2 teams in the Mountain West Conference. Kellen Moore, Casey Paul Hall, the top-rated quarterbacks, and Kellen Moore sets the pace.
Kellen Moore is one of those young men that was just born to play the quarterback position. Son of a high school football coach, he possesses all the intangibles. His resume reads like none that I've ever seen. The most winningest quarterback in FBS history. He'll have his hands full today because Gary Patterson knows how to play defense.
Hey, Casey Paul Hall had huge shoes to fill, filling in for Andy Dalton, the winningest quarterback in the history at TCU, but there's been very little, if any, drop-off in production.
Very true, but Casey and Kellen definitely have different barbers, but the TCU faith will have to be surprised that Casey Paul Hall has done a good job this year of taking care of the football. 19 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions.
All right, something's got to give here at Broncos Stadium. 35 consecutive wins at home for Boise State. 21 conference wins in a row for TCU. Kickoff coming up at 3:30 Eastern.
We look forward to coverage of that game. Our huge marathon of college football on the Saturday continues. 3:30 Eastern, TCU and Boise State. Then at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time over on NBC. Notre Dame Fighting Irish take on Maryland from FedEx Field. And then finally, we head west. Our coverage begins at 10 p.m. Eastern on Versus. It's a Pac-12 matchup between Arizona State and Washington State. As for our game, the right here, the right now, it's halftime of Penn and Harvard. We'll send you out to second half action right after this.
This has been the Geico Halftime Report on Versus.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded, all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because of who is behind the wheel.
Thanks, Dad.
See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
I wouldn't do that.
Get married?
No, I wouldn't use that single miles credit card. Nice ring. Knock it off. Ignore him. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn double miles on every purchase.
3D is so real, Larry.
I'm right here, Larry. If you're not earning double miles, you're settling for half. Really? A plaid tie? What are we in prep school?
Get the Venture Card at CapitalOne.com and earn double miles on every purchase every day.
What's in your wallet? I was gonna say that.
Get the whole story with NBC Sports Talk. Mondays and Fridays, join our NFL analysts.
And I just keep coming back to the fact that Andy Reid is ultimately responsible for this.
Tuesday through Thursday, we'll take you deeper inside all the breaking stories. NBC Sports Talk on Versus.
From Maine to Maui, thousands of high school students across the country are getting in on the action by volunteering in their communities.
It's great helping others, and it feels good too. Are you in? Whoa!
Anyone can do it. All it takes is a little time. Are you in?
Action teams of high school students are joining Volunteers of America and Major League Baseball players to help train and inspire the next generation of volunteers.
It's easy to start an action team at your school, so you too can get in on the action.
Are you in? Get in on the action at actionteam.org.
Back at Harvard Stadium, let's check out the Foster's first half stats. -5 rushing yards for Penn. That includes a couple of quarterback sacks and a turnover by Penn that led to a touchdown. The botched snap on the punt just before halftime, Ross, did not count as a turnover, but nonetheless was costly.
Yeah, that was one thing that jumped out, as well as the turnover, of course.
Let's go down to Carolyn.
Coach, a couple mistakes for you guys in the first half. What did you say to your team at halftime?
Well, I mean, we obviously got to get our poise back a little bit. The whole difference in the first half was we made 2 turnovers on 2 big mistakes, and they made 0. So we have to rectify that, try to force them into a couple of short fields and, you know, give our offense a couple of fields that we can navigate. But it was basically the story of the first half was the 2 turnovers.
We've talked about Josue Ortiz and what a player he is defensively. He's been giving Billy, we're going a little bit of trouble back there.
He's been giving a lot of people in this league trouble, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the linchpin of that defense. We got to do a better job identifying where he is, and then we got to do a better job blocking him. So, you know, to his credit, you know, he came out and he played really well, and we're just going to have to do a better job of accounting for him.
Good luck in the second half. Thank you, Coach.
2 sacks by Ortiz, 2 also by Jared Shalley of Penn. Harvard leads 17-7. We'll be back with the second half kick.
There's a reason our KFC Famous Bowl is famous. Okay, 5 reasons. Layered together for what might be the world's best tasting full meal. How do we make that recipe even more famous?
We put bacon on it.
Wow. Another one for the Colonel. Introducing the new KFC Cheesy Bacon Bowl. Try it right now for only $3.99.
Everything's better with bacon.
No argument here, Rachel. Today's a KFC day. Today tastes so good.
Good news, men use soap. Bad news, men use soap that can really dry their skin. And some have been doing so for over 20 years. So if you think about it, soap has been drying men's skin since breakdancing became totally rad and MacGyver was saving the world with tweezers. Fear not, Dove Men Plus Care is here. It's the bar with 1/4 moisturizing cream, so it cleans and leaves skin feeling moisturized. Dove Men Plus Care. Also try Dove Men Plus Care Sensitive Clean Body Wash.
The most legroom per dollar of any car in America. The all-new Nissan Versa sedan from $10,990. Innovation upsized. Innovation for all.
Oh, we miss you, honey.
I'll be home soon. Until then, I have my wingman helping me out. Tommy?
I helped Dad pick it out.
beautiful. Behind every open heart is a story. Tell yours with my open heart collection at Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. There are millions of reasons to give one, but the message is always the same. Keep your heart open, and love will always find its way in. I love you.
I love you too.
Every kiss begins with Kay.
Here at Harvard Stadium on a wonderful fall afternoon for college football. Penn opened up the game with a 7-0 lead on a touchdown pass from Billy Ragone to Ryan Calvert. Harvard then responded with 17 unanswered points, 10 of which came as a result of miscues by Penn. If you remember, going back to the beginning of the game, Penn deferred. As a result, they will now receive to start the second half, and they will also have the wind in the fourth quarter, which is blowing from your right to left. And Matt Hampshire will return the second half kickoff for Penn from the 4-yard line. Hampshire out across the 30 to the 33. Alex Gideon in on the special team stop, the captain, middle linebacker for Harvard.
Penn again huddling up on the sideline. You see this all the time in college football. They do that because they don't want the Harvard defensive coaches to know what personnel is going out there on the field. So Harvard has to have their personnel on the field sort of blindly, not knowing if 4 wide receivers are coming out or 3 tight ends. And in this case, it's 2 tight ends.
In the I formation with Colavita lined up behind Schuster. That's Naraki, the tight end, in motion. He hasn't caught a pass yet. And that's complete from Ragone to Ryan Calvert. That's Calvert's 9th catch of the game. And he's now at 100 yards receiving. The ball's on the 39.
Ragone had plenty of time early, and then Nnamdi Obukwelu hits him just as he delivers the football. It's really been fun over the last couple of years to see how much better Ragone has gotten as a passer. It's like night and day from what he was like last year, his first year under center.
And Calvert has really been his go-to guy. 9 catches, 100 yards. Ragone is going to fake that one to Colavita. Try to get the first down on his own. It'll be close. The first down is at the 42-yard line, as you can see. Obukwelu on the stop.
I expect to see a whole lot more of that here in the second half. Billy Ragone is an absolute weapon with his legs. A lot of times the Penn coaches, they don't want him to take too many hits. But hey, this is a championship game right here. If they lose today, they are done. Got to pull out all the stops, even if that makes Billy Ragone susceptible to injury.
Looks like they're about a foot shy of the first down on 3rd down, and Colavita will try to get it. He's going to string it out to the right side, and he's hit. Trying to bowl to the 40-yard line, does not get back to the line of scrimmage. The Harvard defense stiffens. Alex Gideon, John Mason.
Dan Minamidi as well. He was the first one. He was shot out of a cannon. That is not Brandon Colavita's cup of tea. This is not his strength to run outside. I thought he could have cut up inside there, but he tried to go outside of Alexander Norman. You see Minamidi, that is what they call running the alley for a safety. And Minamidi did it to perfection. Didn't take down Colavita, but was able to stop his charge and let the rest of his teammates come.
That punt by Scott Leprano, fielded by Scott Miller. There was some practicing going on the sideline there after the miscues in the first half. Of course, right at the end of the first half, there was a bad snap by long snapper Ed Kispert on 4th and long. Leprano had to fall on the ball. That resulted in a 35-yard field goal by David Mothender with just 4 seconds left. And then, Ross, there was some practicing going on.
Yeah, that was not a real good one right there. Now, in fairness to Kispert, a lot of the snaps were much better after that, but it's been inconsistent, that's for sure.
On 1st down, there's your freshman, Zach Bowden. The drive began on the 26-yard line, and Bowden gets a 1st down. Gain of 13 to the 39. Justin Williams in on the stop. 7 carries, 54 yards for Bowden so far.
Really an ideal start here for Harvard. They stopped Penn on that big play by Minamidi, and now they're off and running on offense.
Winters rolling out, firing, incomplete, intended for Chris Lordich, the senior wide receiver. Lordich was well covered.
Lordich is one of a handful of fifth-year guys for Harvard. Collier Winters is another. Josue Ortiz is another. All of whom at one point in their career were injured. And so they're getting a chance at their fourth year of eligibility here in their fifth year at Harvard.
Yeah, Lordich was injured last year. After the second game, he missed the rest of the season. And there is Adam Chrisis bringing in that Winters pass. A little shy of the first down to about the 47-yard line. First down marker is at the 49. So it'll be 3rd and 2.
Just a wide receiver screen. He gets the one block he needs from Juszczyk right there, and Matt Brown at the top, and a highly productive play there on 2nd down.
On 3rd and 2, they're going to go to the air, and it's a first down. Pass is complete to Lordich again. Lordich described yesterday to us by Collier Winters as their deep threat. He's got 6 career 100-yard receiving games, and brings in that first down pass to the 49-yard line of Penn.
Shows a lot of confidence in Winters right there on 3rd and 2 to throw that out pattern.
They're going to keep it in the air, and it's caught and officially dropped. That was Zach Bowden, the freshman, over the middle. Cameron Jones with some contact there to knock the ball loose.
Bowden was just a check down receiver from Collier Winters, and I think he might have heard footsteps a little bit. Watch number 27. He gets the fake, middle of your screen. Does he lose his eyes? Yep. He knew Cameron Jones was coming. He started to look for number 58 before he caught the ball.
That's not a result of the ball being knocked out. He just never brought it in. 2nd and 10. There's Bowden. Cuts upfield. A first down inside the 40-yard line to the 37. Another big gain by Bowden.
Well, they've really found something here running to the left side. You see big Kevin Murphy pulling out in front, knocking Matt Hampshire out. Bowden has plenty of room to run. Starts with a good down block by the tight end, Cam Brate, and then Murphy with the kick out.
That was a pickup of 12 yards, and this time Winters is going way up top. Incomplete. That was Matt Brown, number 13. Just overthrown. In on the coverage, Anthony Marino.
Yeah, Marino was playing off coverage, but he's playing man-to-man. Brown slowed down. I don't know why he slowed down right there, and then never really got back going full stride. Otherwise, that might have been a perfect pass by Collier Winters if Brown had just stayed with his pattern.
Looked like a little bit of contact maybe in there as well. Trevor Scales, who missed most of the first half with an ankle injury, is back in the game now on 2nd and 10. Winters, nobody open. He's going to run it himself. Look at that. Ducking and jiving. Collier Winters showing his athleticism, getting down to the 31-yard line where Eric Rask made the stop.
This is one of the things that Collier Winters can do. He actually did this more earlier in his career, but he's had a couple injuries. But look at that. Makes 2 guys miss. I thought they had him dead to rights. Rask finally brings him down, but not before a solid gain there by Winters.
3rd and 5 for Harvard. Fake the end around there. Winters finds a hole, and he's still going. Winters suddenly tough to bring down. Collier Winters all the way to the 15-yard line, where Marino again in on a stop.
Watch the left tackle pull Kevin Murphy right up in the hole. Gets the block on Rasmussen, and that's what sprung Collier Winters. That's twice on this drive. Big Kyle Murphy, number 78, 6'7", 305. He's shown his athleticism, pulling out and moving in space.
The Crimson with an impressive start to the second half. There is Adam Chrisis. That pass complete inside the 10-yard line.
Collier Winters told us Chrisis, as much as anything, is just so reliable. It's hard to believe Chrisis, along with Lordich, both in the top 10 all-time at Harvard in receptions. Kind of unique to have 2 guys in the same class in that category.
Winters was a sneaky 10 for 13 in the first half, and he's come out firing in the second half. There is Trevor Scales, his first carry since that ankle injury. And that is going to be enough for a first down. Jared Shawley in on the stop. It'll be 1st and goal at the 4.
It's interesting how Harvard has this rotation. Scales has been playing since his freshman year with a guy named Gino Gordon, who was 2 years older than him. Gino has now graduated, so now Trevor Scales is the elder statesman.
Zach Bowden checks back in, and he's going to block for Collier Winters, who just swan dives untouched off the left end for the 4-yard touchdown run.
Second designed quarterback run of the play. Look at all the blockers in front of him. The old student body left right there. I think you could have scored right there, Randy.
Maybe. He didn't even need the block by the freshman Bowden. The 6th touchdown run of the season for Collier Winters. Better known for what he's done through the air, but as you pointed out, Ross, he's pretty versatile. David Mothender to add the point after. 24 unanswered points by the Harvard Crimson. An impressive drive to start the second half by Harvard. Capped by that 4-yard run by Collier Winters after some key pass plays as well. And with 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter, 24-7 Harvard.
The Speak Australian. Helmet. Beer. Foster's Australian for beer.
Before I covered the White House, before my exclusive interviews with Fidel Castro, before I confronted Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir about the genocide in Darfur, before all of that, I covered Chaucer, Nabokov, and Dostoevsky. My Ivy League degree and inspiration came from the University of Pennsylvania.
An important free offer for men with balding or thinning hair.
My hair looks better than what it did when I was a teenager.
I really think he looks amazing. I mean, just look at him.
Men, no diet, no exercise program, no new set of clothes can ever improve your confidence, your good looks, and the way women look at you, the way a thick, full head of your own real hair will. And now you can have it in just 4 weeks when you call Hair Club right now.
I just can't believe how much better he looks. He looks so handsome now.
Life's about having fun. It's about looking good. I mean, 80% of feeling good is looking good.
Call now for your confidential appointment. We'll give you a free hair and scalp analysis. Get the head of hair you want. Call Hair Club now.
I only wish I hadn't taken so long. That's what I'm telling you. Do it now.
Call now for our free DVD and brochure, shipped to you in a discreet plain envelope. Hair Club has the solution you want. Call now.
Call 1-800-381-6750. Don't wait. Call now.
There's a happy Collier Winters on the sideline after that touchdown run that puts Harvard up by 17. He's been told all his life he's too small. And he still has aspirations to play after college, whether it's in the NFL or the Arena Football League or the Canadian Football League. From Claremore, Oklahoma, Tim Murphy told us if he was 6'3", he'd be playing for the Oklahoma Sooners probably.
Well, he also said he's very similar to Buffalo Bills quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, with the notable difference being, of course, Collier's 5'10", 5'11". Fitzpatrick's more like 6'2", 6'3", and that, of course, is a very significant difference.
Murphy telling us that the last 3 Harvard quarterbacks have signed NFL contracts, including Fitzpatrick. That's probably not going to be in the cards because Winters is only 5'11", but the determination is there. Splinter holding for Mothender again on another kick, and Matt Hampshire will field it at the 11. And it is reversed to number 30, Jeff Jack, a running back for Penn. He'll take it across the 35 to the 37-yard line. So Penn needs some heroics, but they've gotten some before from Ragone.
Well, they really have. Penn's played 3 games on television this year in the Ivy League, and all 3 they've been down in the second half and down, in fact, in the fourth quarter. And each time, Billy Ragone and Bam Calavita have led them to a victory, but they better get started now. Down 24-7 here with just a hair under 9 minutes left in the third quarter. They need to get some productivity on this drive.
Ragone has 5 career fourth quarter comeback wins, including those 3 this season. Colavita with Alex Gideon on the stop. Colavita held in the first half to just 16 yards on 6 carries, and he picks up just 2 on that one. 2nd and 8.
Yeah, they just really have not been able to get into any kind of rhythm running the football, which is why, much like we saw from the last drive from Harvard, Randy, with the design runs for Collier Winters, I would expect to see some more design runs for Billy Ragone and some more run-pass options.
Again, one of those quick hits out to Calvert. Matthew Hansen on the stop. We've seen that over and over again. That's 10 catches now for about 101 yards.
What a play by Hansen. He was covering Calvert man-to-man. They'll try to get the receivers and the offensive linemen out there, but Hansen just eludes the block of Holder and then gets Calvert. Hansen is a heck of an athlete. I've pointed out a number of times today, those plays work when the wide receivers get good blocks. You see what happens when the wide receivers don't.
That was a pickup of just 1 yard. Now Penn is facing a 3rd and 7. They need to get this first down. That's complete to Ryan Mitchell, but it will be well short of first down yardage. Dan Minamidi with the coverage.
Minamidi had excellent coverage. I actually thought he could have made a play on the football. He showed tremendous patience to not hit the receiver until the ball was there. I think he had a good sense that they were going to be short of the first down with where they were running, and he thought, hey, I'll just tackle him as soon as he catches it.
High percentage passes by Ragone, just not going for enough yardage to get a first down. Let's see if our punting adventures continue. Bit of a low snap, but Loprano fields it, gets it away. Fair catch by Scott Miller at the 19-yard line. Harvard Crimson unbeaten in Ivy League play, 5-0. They can clinch a share of the Ivy League title with a win, and they're up by 17.
At TireRack.com, we stock an incredible number of tires, nearly 1 million tires. But we don't just stock them, we test them. And we post user reviews so you can find which tires are the best for you and your car. All this at a price that won't slow you down. And that's 1 in a million, or in most cases, 4 in a million. The biggest selection of tires. One more way Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Hey, buddy, what are you looking at? Oh, ooh.
Mini meets berries. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheat Cereal with a touch of fruit in the middle.
Hello, fruit in the middle.
Crouching in average jeans. Crouching in Duluth Trading Ballroom jeans. Duluth Trading Ballroom jeans. The crotch gusset gives you room to crouch without singing soprano. Get a pair at DuluthTrading.com.
When you're responsible for this much of the team, you need a car you can count on.
Next Saturday here on Versus, we'll get another look at Harvard, and what a look it'll be. They called it the game, Harvard versus Yale. You heard the Geico halftime report. Yale quarterback Patrick Witt has a decision to make. He has a Rhodes Scholarship interview scheduled for Saturday, as well as the game. For more on that dilemma, let's go down to Carolyn.
Well, Randy, I talked to Patrick Witt as recently as yesterday. He says he still has not heard back from the committee on rescheduling his interview for next Saturday. He says he will not make a decision on what he has to do until after this Princeton game. They had a noon game today. He does have one more crack at it next year if he decides to play in the game. He told me that he's confided most in his older brother, Jeff, actually, who's a former quarterback at Harvard, about the decision. He says that Jeff understands more than anybody what he's going through. Randy?
Now, Ross, this is a decision that not many student athletes in America are confronted with.
No, and you know, talking with some of the coaches last week, they were under the impression that they were expecting Patrick to play on Saturday. And the thing that Carolyn mentioned, which I think is great, is that he can apply again next year and reinsert himself back right into the process where he is now. So it's good that he has that type of an option.
And that will be next week, Harvard versus Yale. The Crimson looking good right now. 6:54 remaining in the third quarter. They'll start this drive from the 19-yard line. Zach Bowden up the middle for a gain of 5. Have a feeling we're going to see some runs here.
Yep, that's how you shorten the game. Keep that clock moving when you have a 17-point lead. Obviously a 3-score lead. Harvard's right back on the football. This is what they do. They wear people down in the second half. It's why they've scored 40 points plus in 4 straight games.
And we saw some spark in that running game in the last possession with Bowden going off the left side. There he plunges ahead, just a little short of the first down, it appears. The 29-yard line would be the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1.
It's a really positive first 2 plays if you're Harvard. You know, with this vaunted Penn rush defense, they get 9 yards on first down and second down. You keep the clock moving. Collier Winters looks over the sideline to see what they want to do on 3rd down. Wouldn't be surprised to see Collier Winters take it himself here, getting the extra blocker ahead of him in Zach Bowden.
And they're going to show confidence again in Winters, but he's going to pull it down and run with it. He was dropped in the backfield for a loss. Cameron Jones with the sack. And Harvard will be punting it away.
Yeah, you'll see Cameron Jones, bottom of your screen. This is just effort by him because Winters had time to throw it. Jones finally beats Cam Brate late and then chases him down. Looked to me like Winters wanted to throw the ball, couldn't find anyone, then elected to tuck it away. But by the time he made that decision, Cam Jones was there. That's the second time that Brate has been beat on a pass rush today.
And the 4th time that Winters has been sacked. That's Jacob Dombrowski punting. Fumbled by Hampshire and recovered by Harvard. The steady senior Matt Hampshire with the good hands. Kyle Juszczyk on the ball for the Crimson. Another critical turnover.
You can see Hampshire's frustrated with himself, and so is Al Bagnoli. Looked to me like Hampshire was battling the sun a little bit. That's why he has that hand in front of him. He waves for the fair catch, just not able to catch the ball. It's a muffed punt return by Hampshire. And again, it's tough to win games like this when some of your best players, unfortunately, are having a rough day holding on to the ball.
Here's a little reverse magic with Adam Chrisis on the carry. 2 flags on the play, so this one likely to come back. Thrown in the offensive backfield in the spot where it's usually illegal use of the hands. Holding is the initial call against Harvard. So a fumble in the first half led to a touchdown. Fumble by Penn.
Holding on the offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
John Collins, number 79 there.
Yeah, you can see him right here. He's the left guard. He's going to get out in front. Take a look at Collins on the play. And always watch his hands. If they call a hold, it's usually his hands. We'll see him on the right side of the screen. Right there. He would not let the linebacker get off of him. That is a good call by the officials. You know me, Randy. I hate pointing out when an offensive lineman gets a hold, but it was pretty clear that he was holding Taylor Brown. Right there.
He had a pretty good grasp of Taylor. So that penalty puts the ball back now to the 47-yard line of Harvard, and Winters is going to pull this one down and run with it also. Head on by Eric Rask, and that's a guy you don't want to run into.
Rask is one of the 2 Penn defenders that I believe will be in an NFL training camp one day. The other is Brandon Copeland, and Rask has just been fantastic all year. Watch Rask and listen.
That's a form tackle.
That is perfect. Hits him dead in the chest. I think Rask said, I'm sick of you dancing around, Collier. I'm going to put you right back on your seat.
It's 2nd and 17. That's the freshman Bowden. Stutter steps, gets to the corner. Out of bounds after a gain of 5 yards. Anthony Marino, number 11, out there. Some nice moves by the freshman, but we were touted on that.
Yeah, they told us he just has exceptional lateral quickness, which enables him to make some violent, instinctive cuts that they just can't coach. They can't teach it.
Violent, that's the word that Tim Murphy used to describe his cuts. Violent cuts. Saw one of them there. 3rd and 12, though. It's going to be the old option. And Winters is going to keep it. But he only gets down to the 41-yard line. A pickup of 4. Eric Rask again, number 47, right there.
Winters just comes down the line. Nobody really forces him to pitch, so he stays with it. And you see the speed of Rask. Penn head coach Al Bagnoli told me before the game he's a legit 4'5", 4'6" guy. Rask makes plays sideline to sideline.
So after Matt Hampshire muffed that last punt, now it's Ryan Calvert battling the sun. It's going to be trying to bring back this Dombrowski punt. Harvard could do nothing with that last turnover. Dombrowski high, and they're just going to let it bounce. I'm not sure Calvert knew where it was. But the ball comes down inside the 5-yard line. And Penn will be in a desperate hole with 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Quakers need to find some offense with Billy Ragone. They're down by 17.
For calling USA Prime Credit. My name is...
I know. Peggy, you got to cancel my card.
You make Peggy sad.
Look, Peggy, Discover Card's accepted most anywhere now. It's just hard to turn down the cash rewards.
Fine. Name, address, please.
It's Kirk, Herb Street.
What number on Herb Street, Mr. Kirk?
No, Herb Street is my last name.
An address, too?
No.
He's confused. Herb Street, what number, please?
Switch to Discover. Millions of new places now accept America's #1 cash rewards card. It pays to Discover.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded, all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because of who is behind the wheel.
Thanks, Dad.
See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
Oh yes, this is powerful stuff. Got me circling like the moon round the sun. Hear me, this is powerful stuff. There's no way for you to give it up.
It's true. You never forget your first Subaru.
Just before we went away on that last punt, we saw the officials appear to be spotting the ball inside the 5-yard line. They've now corrected themselves because, as you can see on the replay, the punt by Dombrowski actually landed a yard deep in the end zone and then kicked back out. So it is officially a touchback, and they'll get the ball at the 20.
Yeah, and the official was all over. You could see him drop the beanbag there in the end zone.
So the field position not quite as desperate as it appeared it would be for the Quakers. They start at their own 20. And they have got to get something going. There is Colavita trying to get to that Geico first down line that you can see at the 30-yard line. A pickup of about 7 or 8 yards. Josh Boyd, number 52. Came into this game with a bit of a shoulder injury. His participation was questionable, but he made that stop.
Just a zone run to the top. He follows Schuster. What a block by Schuster, the fullback, at the point of attack.
On 2nd and 3. Again, Colavita bouncing it to the outside and just doesn't quite have the speed to turn the corner.
No, that's not his game. That's not his strength, and you can see Alex Norman, who looks a little bit gimpy after the play. He was able to do his job as the contained defender. Watch number 46 take on the block and then chase down Colavita down the line. Harvard has some tremendous athletes and overall team speed. Norman's play right there, just the latest example of that.
A loss by Colavita. It's now 3rd and 5. We're inside the 2-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. Ragone High for Colavita and incomplete. Matt Martindale was there, but didn't matter. Joe Bagnoli frustrated, as is the entire Penn offense, having to punt it away again.
And this has been an adventure all day. Keep an eye on the punt. You never know.
You saw Ed Kispert, the long snapper, practicing with Scott Loprano before the start of the second half. Good snap. And Scott Miller on the other end will let it roll. It'll be down just inside midfield. Only about a 25-yard punt, but they got it off. Small victories right now for the Penn punting team. We'll be right back.
News, men use soap. Bad news, men use soap that can really dry their skin. And some have been doing so for over 20 years. So if you think about it, soap has been drying men's skin since breakdancing became totally rad and MacGyver was saving the world with tweezers. Fear not, Dove Men Plus Care is here. It's the bar with 1/4 moisturizing cream, so it cleans and leaves skin feeling moisturized. Dove Men Plus Care. Also try Dove Men Plus Care Sensitive Clean Body Wash.
There's a reason our KFC Famous Bowl is famous. Okay, 5 reasons. Layered together for what might be the world's best tasting full meal. How do we make that recipe even more famous?
We put bacon on it.
Wow. Another one for the Colonel. Introducing the new KFC Cheesy Bacon Bowl. Try it right now for only $3.99.
Everything's better with bacon.
No argument here, Rachel. Today's a KFC day. Today tastes so good.
Capital One's new cash rewards card gives you a 50% annual bonus, so you earn 50% more cash. According to research, everybody likes more cash. Well, almost everybody. Would you like 50% more cash? No. But it's more money.
The new Capital One Cash Rewards Card. The card for people who want 50% more cash.
What's in your wallet? Whoa!
Big off-season additions bolstered the Buffalo back line, but the Devils aim to give the New York Sabres a trial by fire. Wednesday night hockey, Devils, Sabres. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Versus.
Tonight, the Fighting Irish take on Maryland in a primetime showdown. Notre Dame and Maryland face each other for only the second time in their history when the two battle in our nation's capital. From FedEx Field, it's Maryland and Notre Dame tonight, only on NBC. And here at Harvard Stadium, with 1:15 remaining in the third quarter, the Crimson firmly in command after falling behind 7-0 in the first quarter. It is now 24-7 Harvard as they try to remain unbeaten in Ivy League play. They'll take over on the Penn side of the field at the 49. Collier Winters at quarterback. Trevor Scales is the setback. That's Adam Chrisis in motion, and Chrisis will get the pitch. Chrisis will get about 8 yards to the 40, where Sebastian Jaskowski, not to be confused with Sebastian Janikowski, made the stop.
Boy, I really like the design of that play. Got all the flow of the Penn defense running to the near side and then attacked him to the far side.
9 yards on that last one for Chrisis. There's Scales for no gain. It'll bring up third and very short. When Tim Murphy took over at Harvard, the Crimson had not had an unbeaten Ivy League season since the Ivy League was officially formed in 1956. Since he's come to Harvard, they've had 3, and now they're working on a 4th this season. And that's going to help. Trevor Scales is just tripped up at the 5-yard line. A big run of 35 yards by the junior, who suffered through a bit of an ankle problem earlier in the game, but he looks full speed there.
Take a look at that full house backfield, just man on man up front. I think Penn was a little bit fooled by the full house backfield look with Juszczyk and Bowden in the backfield along with Scales.
Justin Williams, number 24, the one that got his hand on the ankle of Scales on the final play of the third quarter. So Harvard threatening once again. They already are in control, leading 24-7 here at historic Harvard Stadium in a game that could give Harvard a guaranteed share of at least part of the Ivy League championship.
Walk, little walk, small talk, big thoughts. Gonna tell them all just what I want. Said don't stop, don't stop, don't stop talking to me.
The most headroom per dollar of any car in America. The all-new Nissan Versa sedan from $10,990. Innovation upsized. Innovation for all.
Tonight on NFL Turning Point, it was a Super Bowl 42 rematch. And once again, an unknown grabbed a giant upset. NFL Turning Point with Dan Patrick. Tonight at 9 on Versus.
What do you get when you become a Citi Thank You Premier Card member? 50,000 thank you points when you spend $2,500. That's right, 50,000 thank you reward points. But what can you get with those 50,000 points?
I got this amazing flat screen TV.
For only 41,000 points, I got a kayak for weekends at the lake.
We used our points to get $500 in gift cards for our nephews.
In addition to 50,000 thank you points, you also get a companion airline ticket on us right away. And another airline ticket every year after that. Call 800-601-8823 now. Become a card member and earn 50,000 thank you points and airline tickets. And you'll also get our 0% introductory APR offer. Plus, no annual fee for the first year. There are no point caps, no expiration on points, and no blackout dates. Call 800-601-8823 today for your Citi Thank You Premier Card. Or visit Citi.com/rewards.
Welcome back to Harvard Stadium. Let's take a look at the Buffalo Wild Wings game reset. Harvard has scored 24 unanswered points, helped by a couple of pin turnovers, and Josue Ortiz has been everywhere with a couple of sacks as well to help Harvard to their current 24-7 lead. As we begin the fourth quarter, they're knocking on the door again after that big 35-yard run by Trevor Scales. It's first and goal from the 5. Scales is still in the backfield, and they'll give him a chance to carry it over, and he gets to the 1. Scales already leads the team with 7 touchdown runs.
I would expect Harvard to keep the ball on the ground here, but I will tell you this. It's a great play for a play-action pass right now. Second down from about the 1.5-yard line. You got to know Penn's expecting a run with the full house backfield again.
Yeah, Bowden, Scales, and Juszczyk. And Scales, it's his 8th touchdown run of the season. Only fitting after he carried it 35 yards to get it down to the 5-yard line. Trevor Scales battling back from that minor ankle injury earlier in the game. The number 9 all-time leading rusher for the Harvard Crimson. This is now the 7th straight game that Harvard has scored 30 or more points. It certainly didn't look like it was going to happen in the first quarter. But Harvard's offense has come to life. That one no good. David Mothender wide right on that point after to keep Harvard at 30. And there is a look at Trevor Scales.
Just watch the blocking up front. There's a huge seam between the center and the right guard. Scales gets 2 yards into the end zone before he even draws contact with Eric Rask. You see the big smile on his face. He's a junior. And he knows he's about to get his first ring.
Jack Aluba, the center there with the block. Zach Bowden, a block on Daniel Ritt.
And you see the score right there.
That's big.
Dartmouth is beating Brown 21-16. And what that means is that if Harvard holds on to win this game, they guarantee themselves of winning the Ivy League outright. Because then every other team in the league would have at least 2 losses. You see it right there. Penn would get their second loss today. If Brown loses to Dartmouth, they'd have a second loss. And so even if Harvard were to lose next week to Yale, they'd still be the Ivy League champs.
With a win today that obviously it appears almost certain they're going to get, they'd be guaranteed at least a share, but by the time this game is over and that one's over, it could be more than that.
So impressive what they've done with this 22.2 win margin, points per game. And they're right on their average.
That is Spencer Colsar, the freshman. Brings that one back to about the 27-yard line where Harvard will take over. Chris Splinter on the tackle. Tim Murphy was saying that he credits to a certain extent a lot of the offensive prowess this year by Harvard to the offensive line, some of the young guys that have come around, but also to this tight end tandem that has worked out so well this season.
They're kind of like the New England Patriots across town. You know, with Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez for the Patriots, who play Sunday night on NBC against the New York Jets. Big game there. They can just utilize those tight ends in so many different ways.
Juszczyk and Cameron Braid have really come on strong this year. Ragone just throws it away on first down from the 27. Nobody open.
You see one of, Randy, you see one of them right there. Cam Braid. Looks like his jersey ripped a little bit on the back. You can see his back play. There's the other tight end, Kyle Juszczyk.
Braid was a little bit of a surprise. Juszczyk was a starter last year. Braid had little or no playing time going into this season, but they're so athletic, so versatile that Murphy wants them on the field all the time.
Well, because when you go and you put them on the line of scrimmage, you've got a great run formation, and then when you split them out, it's almost like you have 4 wide receivers.
On second down, intercepted. Alex Norman is going to take it back all the way. Ragone just grooved that right to Alex Norman. A 25-yard interception return for a touchdown, adding salt to the wound here at Harvard Stadium.
I can't say enough about the athleticism of some of these Harvard kids that we've seen today. That's the second or third play that Alexander Norman has made, which has been really impressive. He got a tremendous depth on his pass drop, snared that out of thin air, and looked very comfortable running it back to the house for a touchdown.
His third career interception. First of this season and his first touchdown. And Ragone is trying to explain what went wrong. Let's see if Mothender can put this one through. Missed the last point after. Nailed that one to make it 37-7. There's not much doubt that Harvard's going to have at least a share, as you see the interception return by Alex Norman, at least a share of the Ivy League title, and we'll be following that Brown game. They may have it outright.
Look at all this. Where do we start?
Unpack this one first. It doesn't matter where we are. When I'm here, I'm home.
Surround her with the strength of your love. Give her diamonds in a design that captures the comfort found in each other's arms. The Love's Embrace collection. One more reason K is the #1 jewelry store in America.
There's no place like home.
Every kiss begins with K.
A little to the left.
That's amazing.
You know what else is amazing? How easy it is to save money on RV, camper, and trailer insurance with Geico. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
yes, this is powerful stuff. Got me circling like the moon round the sun. Hear me, this is powerful stuff. There's no way for you to give it up.
It's true. You never forget your first Subaru.
Hey, buddy, what are you looking at? Oh, ooh.
Mini meets berries. Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheat Cereal with a touch of fruit in the middle.
Hello, fruit in the middle.
College football on Versus is presented by K Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by Foster's, Australian for beer. 37 unanswered points by Harvard. The last point scored by that fella, Alex Norman, on a 25-yard interception return. As Harvard is pouring it on, Spencer Colsar and Justin Williams are back deep for Penn. So we still have 14 minutes remaining in the game. There's Colsar from the 8. Freshman, some moves across the 30. Down at the 32-yard line. Well, it's 37-7, which sort of falls into line, Ross, with the norm this season for Harvard.
Well, for Harvard, yeah, but this is a huge surprise to me. Let's not forget that this Penn team had won 18 straight Ivy League games before they lost 6-0 to Brown in a game that was played in horrendous weather. They are not accustomed to losing like this, and we've got a new quarterback in Ryan Becker.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were going to see Becker. He typically gets some action. Josue Ortiz in there on the stop of Brandon Colavita. Becker, of course, the Florida State transfer, sophomore from Davie, Florida. He's got some decent statistics. He's led the Quakers to a couple of touchdown drives this season. Normally gets in on 1 or 2 series per game, but with this game pretty much out of reach, looks like Becker's going to get some reps as Billy Ragone, after throwing that pick 6, is sent to the principal's office on the sideline, I suppose.
Well, yeah, as you said, he usually gets a series or 2, but he is probably the more accomplished pocket passer of the 2.
And they need some accomplished pocket passing, but right now they're just handing it off to Colavita. Josue Ortiz again. So we have a little bit of extracurricular activity, as they say, the cliche.
Well, Penn's not used to this. They are not used to getting beat down like they are getting beat. I mean, let's not forget, they had the lead. It was 7-0 Penn. It's been 37 unanswered points by the Harvard Crimson, and it brings up another 3rd and long here. This is not the situation in which Penn's offense works particularly well. They're so much better when they can get a little bit of the ground game going, mix in some quarterback runs, some intermediate crossing patterns. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, not where they want to be.
Becker has a good arm. Gets Jeff Jack out of the backfield. Jack struggling to get to that first down, and he's going to be 4 or 5 yards short. Dan Midamidi, we've seen him in on some big hits. Brian Owusu, number 6. But there's Minamidi, the senior from Escondido, California.
I think these guys smell it now. I think these guys are starting to smell a championship. We said it earlier, but it bears repeating. The seniors on this Harvard squad, they were freshmen the last time Harvard won the Ivy League title in 2008. So they have rings, but you know, they didn't really feel like they earned it.
Yeah, they said their job was just mainly to be on the scout team or help get the seniors and the juniors ready. That punt fielded by Scott Miller, an uneventful punt. It'll be on the 18-yard line where Harvard will take over when we return. The Harvard Crimson are unbeaten in Ivy League play, and they're going to stay that way.
Spike is trying. Microbrew. Beer.
Foster's, Australian for beer.
USA Prime Credit, tell Peggy your problem.
Hey, Peggy, I got 5 dadgum charges here for Miss Prissy's Cat Emporium.
Dadgum?
Now, Peggy, tell me, do I sound like a man who'd have 5 dadgum charges at a Miss Prissy's Cat Emporium?
You break up, call back next week.
I'm not too old to find you, son.
Want better customer service? Switch to Discover. Ranked #1 in customer loyalty. It pays to Discover.
Now is the time to put your muscle, your strength, and your commitment behind MDA. Together, we can provide hope, help, and greater understanding in the fight against the devastating muscle diseases that affect children and adults. Be the next to flex, the next to join in the fight. Make a muscle. Make a difference. MDA.
Anytime TCU's played Boise State in the past, it's been a dogfight.
TCU's as good as anybody in the country, and everybody knows that. You know, if you are playing your best, it's usually going to come down to a play or two here or there. You never know when that play is going to be, but you got to be ready to answer if you got an opportunity.
Our game has conference championship implications, and so does this one. College football on Versus continues when TCU takes on 5th-ranked Boise State in a Mountain West showdown. Both teams undefeated in conference play.
Yeah, that is a big one. Of course, Boise State's first year in the Mountain West, and they need to keep winning to win not only the Mountain West, but have a chance at the BCS game and maybe even the BCS title game.
You saw the banners overhead, the Harvard championship years. Penn has won the last 2 league championship. Harvard won the 2 before that. That was Rich Zajeski, number 23 on the carry. Zajeski gets down to the 21-yard line. 2nd and 7. There you see the previous years that Harvard has won the Ivy League title. There are also national championship banners up there as well from the good old days. The last national title Harvard won was 1919. That pass incomplete. Collier Winters. Cameron Brate couldn't quite hang on. There are the national titles, right? Back when men were men.
Yeah, they've had quite a drought, though. They haven't won one since 1919. You see the Ivy League titles, and if Harvard gets this one, it looks like they will. They are gaining. They'd be tied with Yale, and they're gaining on Penn and Dartmouth.
Harvard has actually played in as many Rose Bowls or more as some of the Pac-10 schools or Pac-12 schools. Zajeski still in the backfield, and he'll get that carry for absolutely nothing. Jared Shawley back there to drop him for a loss. That was 3rd down, so Harvard just trying to run out the clock here. We're at 10:52 and ticking.
Well, and they would have had a better opportunity to do it if they had converted on 2nd down there. If Cam Brate makes that catch, then they might have been in business. You can see they won the Rose Bowl in 1920.
But no postseason play for the Ivy League.
It's unfortunate because obviously the Ivy League is in the football championship subdivision of Division I. I'd love to be able to see what a dominant team like Harvard would be able to do in the playoffs this year.
It's a league policy, no postseason play, as you see the punt there by Harvard's Dombrowski, rolling dead. There's been some conjecture as to whether the powers that be at the Ivy League will soon allow postseason play. If that were the case, Harvard and Trevor Scales would be headed to the postseason almost certainly.
Miners trust the makers of Peak Antifreeze to protect their 600-ton ore haulers from extreme conditions. You can trust Peak Antifreeze's unique formula to help protect your engine from costly repairs. Peak Antifreeze. Protect your ride, no matter what you drive.
Peak Antifreeze. When you peak, you win.
Welcome to Longhorn Steakhouse, where for a limited time you can enjoy our new lobster stuffed filet. It's Longhorn's juicy filet, perfectly grilled outside, topped with a garlic-crusted half lobster tail, and stuffed with succulent lobster. Or tonight, try our tender filet, stuffed with aged white cheddar and savory bacon. Right now, only at Longhorn Steakhouse. Discover the West in you. And now, discover new lunch combinations, starting at just $7.99.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded, all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because of who is behind the wheel.
Thanks, Dad.
See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
When you have a 30-point game, you can declare your Ivy Football Association player of the game a little early, and in this case, Josue Ortiz.
He has been everywhere, especially early on in the game. Getting those 2 sacks and then recovering this fumble. And this was really where the game started to turn into Harvard's favor. When he ripped that ball out and recovered it. Ever since then, it's been all Harvard.
Let's go down to Carolyn with more on Josue.
Well, Randy and Russ's teammates call him a robot, as you heard him tell us the other day. They call him Josue 5.0, and after talking to him, you soon find out that he really is a creature of routine. He hopes to play at the next level, and he's having a hard time keeping up on weight. So he eats 5,000 to 6,000 calories a day, starts with a dozen eggs, and then eventually goes to about 3 plates with 10 chicken breasts on them each. He definitely eats to stay on top of his weight, guys.
He's an amateur nutritionist. Ryan Becker almost throws an interception there. Connor Loftus had his hands on it but couldn't bring it in.
Ortiz will be an interesting prospect for the NFL because he's 265 pounds, very athletic, very strong, but he's really played defensive tackle here at Harvard. Obviously not big enough to play that position at the NFL level. Is he a defensive end? Is he an outside linebacker under 3-4? That's going to be the biggest issue with him, is that he's kind of a tweener.
And if he doesn't make it in the NFL, of course, he's a Harvard guy. He has aspirations. He wants to go to law school. He wants to be in academia, as he put it.
Yeah, he wants to be a professor someday. I never had a professor that looked like that. That's for sure.
Professor with square hair and a heck of a physique. He is a demon in the weight room, as you mentioned.
He said all the other guys get 2 workouts in. He makes sure to work out at least 4 times a week. Was also his class valedictorian. The more you talk to these guys for all these teams in the Ivy League, the more impressed you get. You really do.
You saw that last pass bounced by Becker. It's now 3rd and 10. That one just a little bit too high for Tommy Eggleston, number 86, the intended receiver, and Penn just can get absolutely nothing going. For a team that just a couple of weeks ago had won 18 consecutive Ivy League games, now they've in the process of losing 2 out of 3, and this one's quite a fall.
It really is. And I think the Brown game, you could say, well, maybe it was the weather, although the weather really neutralized both offenses in that game, and the turnovers had a big impact on it. Today has just been Harvard being the better team and the turnovers for the Quakers.
Scott Miller barely fielding that one at the 17-yard line. And we have a whistle, and the officials are going to talk something through. So we have a final. Dartmouth has defeated Brown 21-16, which will make the Harvard Crimson almost certainly now the undisputed champion of the Ivy League.
After further discussion on the play, the defender was not pushed into the kicker.
running into the kicker on the defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 4th down.
All right, didn't see the flag there. The flag was obscured. Zach Hodges, number 99, Joe McNolly. All right, so with that loss by Brown at the hands of Dartmouth, those are the up-to-date standings pending the outcome of this game. But as you can see right now with a 30-point lead, Harvard is going to have a 2-game lead in the Ivy League with 1 game to play and clinch the title, undisputed. Carolyn?
Well, they just made the announcement about Dartmouth beating Brown here in the stadium, and you can see the guys on the Harvard sidelines get real excited about that. Everybody giving hugs and a lot of fist pumps, but they know they have to wait out these last 10 minutes. Still a lot of excitement down here, Randy.
All right, we have a redo on the punt now. It's always fun with Scott Leprano. Scott Miller fumbles it. Flags are in. It has been recovered by Penn. That's number 18, Dan Wilk, who came up with it. And let's see what the men in the striped shirts can decide on this one. Your referee is Michael Sechrist.
After further discussion on the field, there was no flag, no penalty for kick-catch interference. The ball was recovered legally by University of Pennsylvania. 1st down and goal.
It's a big break for Penn right there. Gives an opportunity to get a score. Their last loss versus Harvard was back in 2008. The Harvard guys we spoke with yesterday, Kevin Murphy, Alex Gideon, the other, they said, hey, these guys have really had our number. That has not been the case today, although now you have Billy Ragone back in the game. Stranger things have happened. Let's see if Penn can get a touchdown here.
Ragone is going to try to get it on his own. Picks up a few yards. Nnamdi Obukwelu trips him up. Stranger things have happened, but this would be a comeback for the ages.
Yes, it absolutely would. But if they can score quick here, the problem is they're taking too much time on the clock now. Billy elected to tuck it away and try to run for it. The speed of Harvard prevented him from getting there.
It'll be 2nd down and goal from the 4. This time Ragone has Colavita flanked to his left. Fires it intended for Eggleston. That was a field goal. That was through the goalposts. More like a point after. Incomplete, 3rd and 4. Ragone not quite as sharp in the passing department as we've seen him in some previous games.
And you know, I think part of that is I don't think guys are as open as they've been. You can see the frustration right there. But these coverage guys for Harvard are excellent. Hansen on one side, Owusu on the other. The safeties as well, Splinter, Minamidi. There hasn't been a lot of places to go with the ball.
This one's going to go to Ryan Mitchell, who comes in motion and takes the handoff on the reverse. He does not get into the end zone. Chris Splinter, one of those safeties that Ross was just referring to, and Brian Owusu both there. Mitchell out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Tantalizingly close to a 2nd touchdown in this game by Penn. And of course, they're going to keep the offense on the field. 4th and 1. Fourth and 1 with 8:34 remaining. Harvard has scored 37 unanswered points since Penn had a 7-0 lead in the 1st quarter, and whistles will stop this one.
Timeout, Harvard. That's their first timeout of the 2nd half. 30-second timeout.
All right, so the Crimson didn't like something that they saw.
No, hey, you don't want to get Penn even any sniff of a chance. 4th down, big play. Want to make sure the defense is set. Again, not a whole lot of hope for the Penn Quakers at this point, but if they were to score a touchdown, then an onside kick. That's how things get started.
Again, it's a big day here on Versus. Coming up next, immediately at the conclusion of this game, TCU and number 5 Boise State, followed by Arizona State and Washington State at 10:30 Eastern time on Versus. And of course, in between, over on NBC, Maryland and Notre Dame playing at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, in our nation's capital. So a big day of football here for the NBC family of networks. Josue Ortiz is going to get a chance to try to stack up Penn here on a 4th down and 1. 1 yard away from the end zone. We made a lot about whether Harvard was going to clinch a share of the title. Now, of course, they have the title outright because of the loss to Brown. What's interesting to me is that in the Ivy League, they do it the old school way. There are no tiebreakers. If 2 teams tie, even if one beat the other one in the regular season, they are co-champions. Yep. But in this case, Harvard's got it all. Ragone is going to try to bring it in himself, and he does. Billy Ragone off the right side for a long overdue touchdown. Joe Bonadies, the right tackle, provided the block.
Similar play to the play that Collier Winters scored on for Harvard. Just gets out there behind Bonadies and Bam Calavita. They both get good blocks on the edges. Ragone scores rather easily.
Big block by Calavita on number 2, John Mason there. So Connor Loftus. Coincidentally, there's also a Connor Loftus that plays linebacker for Harvard. 2 Connor Loftuses, this one for Penn. The freshman kicker converts the point after. It is 37-14 Harvard. The Harvard Crimson have clinched the Ivy League championship.
Investing for yourself isn't some optional pursuit, a privilege for the ultra-wealthy. It's a necessity. I find investments with E-Trade's top 5 lists quickly, easily. I use predefined screeners and insightful trading ideas to dig deeper. Work smarter, not harder. I depend on myself, the one person I do trust to take charge of my financial future.
The Rock. The great one, the most electrifying man in all of entertainment. John Cena. You want some? Come get some. Join forces at Survivor Series on one night in one ring. The most charismatic tag team of all time. Never before, never again. WWE Survivor Series, live Sunday, November 20th on DirecTV pay-per-view.
He's boxing's most dominant champion, the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Yet on 2 nights, one fighter was his equal. Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Juan Manuel Marquez. Pacquiao Marquez 3. Order now on DirecTV. And with the purchase of a 12-pack of Tecate or Tecate Light, receive up to $25 back by mail. Offer ends November 12, 2011. Must be 21 years of age or older. Other terms apply. Live Saturday, November 12th on DirecTV pay-per-view.
2 big off-season additions bolstered the Buffalo back line. But the Devils aim to give the New York Sabres a trial by fire. Wednesday night hockey, Devils, Sabres. Coverage begins at 6:30 on Versus.
After a tough first quarter, it has been all Harvard. Cameron Brate, Zach Bowden, Collier Winters on a touchdown, Trevor Scales an interception return. And as a result, Harvard has a 37-14 lead as we check out the Foster's game stats.
Well, as you might imagine, it's pretty much all Harvard. The 2 big numbers, total yardage, 302 for Harvard, and the turnovers at the bottom have made a big difference in this game, and especially the rushing yards with those Foster's game stats.
Harvard has averaged 500 yards of total offense over its last 5 games. The Crimson very unlikely to get to that number this game, but they've been helped a lot by Penn miscues. A couple of fumbles, the bad snap on a punt, all directly led to points. The interception return for a touchdown. That's 17 points right there. And right now, Harvard has a 23-point lead. So turnovers and other miscues have played a key role. in the outcome of this game.
And there's still 8 minutes left.
Yeah, let's be politically correct. I said that Harvard has clinched the Ivy League championship outright. Not officially. Not officially.
And I was even just saying that because they might go over 500 yards today.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely because they'll probably be pretty conservative running with the football. But they can get some more yards on the board.
Now on this windy afternoon in Cambridge, Mass, Connor Loftus needs a holder as well. Anthony Marino has a finger on the ball. Matt Hansen is deep. Of course, it's going to be an onside kick. And it goes out of bounds. Flag on the play at about the 35-yard line.
There's a couple penalties on the play. One was all the way back where the ball was kicked.
Of course, when the ball goes out of bounds on a kickoff, that's an automatic flag, but there's another one as well. Both against Penn.
Yeah, it happens sometimes when you're over anxious. One of the Penn guys was offsides, and the procedure, of course, the ball going out of bounds.
You just decline these penalties, I assume. You see Joe Bagnoli on the sideline getting the explanation. Tim Murphy got to be proud of the way his Harvard Crimson have played as they get a chance to play Yale next week in that big rivalry game and close out an undefeated Ivy League campaign.
There were 2 penalties. Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. That penalty will be declined. Offsides on the kicking team. That penalty will be accepted. The kick ball went out of bounds on the 39-yard line. The 5-yard penalty will be assessed from that point. First down and 10, Harvard.
There's Al Bagnoli. So Harvard will take over on the 44. The setback is Rich Jazeski. Quarterback is still Collier Winters. And Zajeski, number 23, gets the carry with Daniel Ritt in on the stop. We're at 8 minutes, 9 seconds and counting.
Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback here from 01 through 04. Put up some pretty impressive numbers, led him to getting drafted by the St. Louis Rams. He was subsequently traded to the Cincinnati Bengals and then signed most recently with the Buffalo Bills. Now he's their starting quarterback, just signed a big-time, long-term, big money extension. And he has really revitalized that attack in Western New York. They got a big game tomorrow against the Dallas Cowboys.
And there you see Collier Winters. He's going to run with it. Down at about the 48-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 5. So when Winters at 5'11" hopes to continue his career, that's the prototype he's looking at. That's the Harvard quarterback makes good in the NFL prototype that he'd like to emulate. It's going to be a tougher road, though.
Yeah, I think he looks at some of the other shorter quarterbacks, you know, Drew Brees,
our own Doug Flutie.
Doug Flutie, even Russell Wilson. But I don't think Collier Winters is going to get much of an opportunity at the NFL level, but he just loves football so much. He said he wants to be an NFL executive someday, that I can see him playing arena ball or in some of the other professional leagues just so he can keep playing.
As Adam Christus there on that 3rd and 5 carry. He's an economics major, Collier Winters, so that would make him a good fit for someone in the front office in the NFL trying to figure out the salary caps and contracts and things such as that. He wants to stay close to football in any event.
Yep, he loves it. And I don't blame him. I feel the same way. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this right now. And hopefully Collier gets involved on the front office side. I don't need anybody coming to try to take my gig.
And next year, the Harvard Crimson are going to be in pretty good shape at quarterback with Colton Chappell. We haven't had a chance to call his number today, but he did quite a job earlier this season when Winters was out.
He was back-to-back Ivy League Player of the Week offensively. And Collier admitted he was a little bit nervous about whether or not he'd get his job back after his hamstring injury against Holy Cross when he returned.
Let's see what's going on here.
Play a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
What's interesting, the NCAA calculates its efficiency ratings of quarterbacks, but people are probably more in tune with the NFL quarterback rating. If you do an NFL quarterback rating on Colton Chappell and Collier Winters, what you get is pretty fascinating. For Chappell, it's 120. For Winters, it's 111. As you see there, Ryan Calvert in on the punt. No other quarterback, there's a flag on the play, we'll stay here. No other quarterback in the Ivy League has an NFL rating of over 100. No one last year in the entire Ivy League.
Foul. Roughing the kicker on the defense, number 84. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic, 1st down.
Junior Robert Gallus, the tight end. Gallus in with that penalty. Al Bagnoli not happy. So no other team in the Ivy League has one quarterback with a rating like that, and Harvard has 2.
These guys have both played so well all year, and big break for Harvard here in their quest to run out the clock with that penalty on Gallus. Take another look at it. Coming off the outside. Oh, and yeah, he got him bad. That's clearly roughing the punter. And now Harvard has a chance to even take more time off the clock.
Well, we've talked about Colton Chappell, and now we get a chance to take a look at him. Backup quarterback in the game to replace Collier Winters. Another flag. We may have set an Ivy League record.
On the offense, number 57. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
For number of penalties in a 1-minute span. Nick Easton, backup right guard, called for that. A lot of backups in the game.
Harvard
right now,
has all their second-string guys in now.
That's Rich Jazeski again. Getting some of his first meaningful action this season. After the penalty, he brings the ball to the 42-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and about 13.
The unique thing about Harvard is that even though they appear ready to clinch the Ivy League title outright, their season's far from over.
Yeah.
Because next week is the game. And even if you win the Ivy League title, if you lose to Yale, that takes quite a stain off of the gleam of that title, and there's a fumble.
Jazeski fumbles it. And it is recovered. We'll see if he was ruled down by the time. No, it's a fumble. And recovered by Eric Rask, number 47. So Jazeski puts the ball on the ground with 5 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. And Penn will get a chance to see if they can add another score to make this thing a little tighter.
Take another look at it. Zajeski cuts back against the grain against Hampshire. And the ball definitely came out.
Taylor Brown.
From Taylor Brown, it looked like before he was down.
And there you see Jazeski not happy with himself. There you see that 1st down line presented by Geico as Billy Ragone hopes against hope for something to happen. There's Ryan Mitchell on the receiving end of that one. Inside the 30-yard line of Harvard. Big gainer there. Ryan Mitchell last week caught a couple of big touchdown passes from Ragone, 54 and 23-yarders.
You see Mitchell there working against Owusu. Comes in, then goes back out. Good route there by Mitchell. Owusu lost him.
There's Owusu looking in as Ragone from the 26. He'll take off with it. Out of bounds at the 22-yard line. John Mason providing some pressure and running him out of bounds. You mentioned the game next week here on Versus the Game, as they refer to it in the Ivy League.
Yeah, it would just leave such a bad taste in the mouth of Harvard. Even if they win the Ivy outright, if they lose to Yale. And conversely for Yale, that would make their season. Those guys have not beaten Harvard. That would mean everything to them if they were able to get a win in the game.
Billy Ragone carries and gets the first down. Brian Riley on the stop. 4:15, and the clock is stopped as they move the chains. That's such a rivalry, Harvard versus Yale, that even though technically Harvard doesn't have anything to play for, they really do. Ragone looking for Mitchell. Tries to bring it in one-handed in the corner of the end zone. Pass a little too long.
It's funny because, you know, I hear you say doesn't have anything to play for. I know you're just talking about in the league
statistically,
standings. Right, and the same thing's true for Yale. But when we talk with the Yale guys this upcoming week before that game, they're going to tell you that they have everything to play for because the seniors at Yale have never beaten Harvard. In fact, it's been a long time since Yale has beaten Harvard, and they want to be the class that turns that around. Yale getting the win today over the Princeton Tigers, 33-24.
It's always been a slice of Americana when those two teams play. There's Ryan Calvert bringing in his second touchdown catch of the day. This one didn't hit the ground. Perfect strike. And the scoreboard operator actually credited it to Harvard. He's having to go back and take it off of the Harvard ledger and give it to Penn. Calvert has really come on this year as the favorite target for Billy Ragone. It's 37-20. I looked up and all of a sudden Harvard had 43 points. They're going for 2 to make it a 15-point game. Bring it into a 2-score game. And Ragone throws it just behind Joe Holder. So as a result, Penn does not complete the 2-point conversion, and now we're back to a 3-score game. Let's take a look now at our Gillette Fusion Pro Glide flashback. Speaking of Harvard-Yale, in 1968, what's considered the best game between the two teams. That's when the Harvard team made a miraculous last-moment comeback. They scored 16 points in the final 42 seconds to tie the highly touted Yale squad that was coming off a 16-game winning streak. The final 29-29, and both teams were left at 8-0-1 for the season. Next week, the rivalry continues. 12 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, the game, only on Versus. Your Gillette Fusion Pro Glide flashback.
Penn could use that right now. As you see the 1968 Ivy League title for Harvard. But Penn could use that right now. 16 points in 42 seconds.
Yeah. They're down by 17. All right, prepare to see another onside kick here with 3:56 left. As the freshman Connor Loftus is going to tee it up. They executed, if you recall, an onside kick against Yale successfully a few weeks ago.
Yep. Pooch variety. A little bit
yeah,
of a
it was. It was a little bit of a,
kick.
yeah.
Harvard has the hands team out there.
They're expecting a kick to Loftus's right. And they get that little pooch kick kind of coming down in between, but it's too long. Fielded by Brian Owusu, the starting cornerback, the hands team.
I don't think Loftus got as much loft under the ball as he was looking for. You can see Al Bagnoli point up in the air. He wanted to try to get a little more air under the ball.
Another reminder coming up next upon the conclusion of this game. It'll be TCU against number 5 Boise State. Both teams undefeated in Mountain West play. A big game coming up again immediately after the conclusion here at Harvard Stadium. Collier Winters back in the game. We saw Colton Chappell briefly. Penn goes down to score. Tim Murphy sends Collier Winters back in. With the carry up the middle, that is Damani Wilson.
Well, Penn, that's their first timeout of the second half, 32nd timeout.
All right, so Penn begins the exercise now of stopping the clock. course, there is no 2-minute warning, as you dedicated football fans know, in college football. So that's one timeout that Penn won't get to take. But they have 2 more remaining. And they'll probably use them all right here.
Well, they will. And you can see Tim Murphy was just looking up at the scoreboard, looking up at the clock. He knows they have got to grind out a first down right here. That's the way you want to salt it away. And if you're an offensive lineman in there, you don't want to have to punt the ball to Penn again and give them another opportunity to get some more points on the board. You want to pound the rock. They call this the 4-minute offense. You practice this all the way going back into August. And that's just how you're going to run the football in these situations when you have a lead.
Harvard averaging 4.5 yards per rush in this game. That was back to Damani Wilson again. Rich Jazeski fumbled on the last possession, so now they trot out Damani Wilson, and Penn takes another timeout.
Second timeout of the second half, 32nd timeout.
Eric Rask on the stop. Rask is still in the game, so is Brandon Copeland, of course, as they really need a stop.
See Kevin Murphy right there. He is really, really an impressive young man. Not just the best offensive lineman in the Ivy League, but he's also a biomedical engineering major. He's got a lot of stuff going. I think Carolyn has more.
Yeah, I do, Russ. He was telling us about it yesterday, and it's fascinating stuff. Him being a bioengineering major, he actually recently developed a computer algorithm to test what happens to neurons in the brain when they're stressed from a traumatic brain injury. He actually had a concussion last fall and said that was one of the reasons that contributed to this. But if he doesn't go pro, his fallback is he's going to do research on traumatic brain injuries, like what happens on the field a lot of times that we've seen with concussions.
But he is big enough and impressive enough to get a shot at the NFL. As you see Jazeski back in the game now, pushing the pile forward, trying to get to the 46-yard line to that yellow stripe. Going to be maybe just a little bit short. Murphy, he's got the size to hold up in the pass pocket, as Tim Murphy puts it, the athleticism to go to the next level and block a linebacker.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with him today. And you know the biggest indication of why he's been so impressive? How many times have we said the name Brandon Copeland?
Good point.
We really haven't. Brandon Copeland, one of the best defensive players in the league, and he's been pretty much shut down by Kevin Murphy. As you can see, Harvard is a couple inches short. Decision time for Tim Murphy. Looks like Harvard's going to go right on the ball.
3:31 left.
Timeout, Penn.
As a matter of fact, I think they surprised the Quakers a little bit there.
Second half, 32nd timeout.
So Bagnoli doesn't look particularly pleased at that development as Penn uses up its final timeout of the game. Yeah, Murphy and Copeland were both looking forward to this matchup, to going against each other.
Yeah, they both kept talking about it during the week. Brandon Copeland's only a junior, but he's been a dominant force for Penn this year. Started last year, second on the team with 50 tackles. He is one of the premier athletes in the Ivy League, and he's a guy that a lot of NFL scouts will be looking at next year. Murphy's the guy they're looking at this year. In terms of the whole computer algorithm thing, big deal. I mean, who hasn't come up with their own computer algorithm already? Don't you have yours?
I've got
Randy?
a computer algorithm to come up with an NFL passer rating.
I'm just glad I can get on the internet and use my email, let alone coming up with an algorithm.
I do that on my phone. All right, they're going to go for it. Apparently, Collier Winters comes up to the line. He's going to try to sneak it. Bottled up, kicks it outside, and he's still going. Run out of bounds by Justin Williams, but not before a quarterback sneak. Nets a gain of about 15 yards, and a post-play flag has now come in, a dead ball penalty.
You don't see that very often from Collier Winters. He was stoned on the quarterback sneak, but he's so athletic, so quick, he was able to bounce it outside then and get that yardage.
All right, speak to us, Michael Seacrest.
The result of the previous play was a first down for Harvard. During the dead ball period after the down, We have unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Number 16, taunting the opponent. 15-yard penalty from the succeeding spot remains first down.
Taunting the opponent. Okay.
Naughty boy, Collier. Don't be a naughty boy. Let's see what he did. First, he gets stuffed on the quarterback sneak. Then he bounces outside, goes out of bounds. See what happens there.
The head waggle.
Yeah, the head waggle, and he says something. Who knows what was said right there?
Might have been a little contact in there as well. Looked like he might have tossed an elbow in there. Still a first down. Rich Jazeski up the middle. Let's take another look at that one.
Yeah, see if there's an elbow in some way. 69.
Well,
69 with a little lean in right there. And Collier Winters says something, and whatever it was they didn't like.
Joe Bonadies there, number 69. He's had his own contact.
He's getting some more TV time for that move.
I think he kind of prompted that one. Nonetheless, it was a penalty on Collier Winters, who seemed to be a bit amused by it. 2nd and 8, 2:23 and ticking down. There's Jazeski again. Met in the backfield, brought down. Eric Rask hit him first. Jared Shawley there to wrap it up.
If you're not sure who makes the tackle for Penn, it's a pretty good bet just to say Eric Rask. I mean, he's from Newport Beach, California. Corona Del Mar High School. Was talking with him before the game. He's done some work in the finance industry, mergers and acquisitions, but he's hoping to merge his way onto an NFL roster, or at least get into a mini camp or a training camp. Try to get that opportunity first.
3rd and 9. Jazeski protecting the ball. Brought down by Eric Rask. Jason Rasmussen, no gain. As we're now coming down to the minute 20 mark. Since Tim Murphy took over at Harvard in 1994, the Crimson went unbeaten in the league in 2001, unbeaten overall that year. They were unbeaten in 2004 overall and in Ivy League play, and again in 2007 they went a perfect 7-0 in Ivy competition. This would put them at 6-0, of course, with that one game remaining next week here on Versus, the game against Yale. 4th down. They're going to try to run some more clock here. No timeouts again for Penn. And the Quakers